Good. I apologize. You're the first of a government experiment. I am.
Echo.
I have an echo.
Oh, it's gone now.
Okay, good.
I thought I was hearing it for a second.
I'm moving my Jake. Good morning. I'm moving my desk around and all my stuff around to try to make it so I can have people live in the studio. And I've been dreading moving my camera and my desk and the microphone. And so I did it last night, like at 7:30, and I'm like, oh man, I hope when I go on with Jake tomorrow, everything works. And it does. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, loud and clear.
That's Matt. Meet Jake. Jake, meet Matt.
Hey, Jake.
What's up, Matt?
Hey, dude. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the invite.
There's this topic that Susan and I were talking about yesterday that we were going to talk about on our live call-in show tomorrow. But I heard something. I can't resist bringing it up right here and right now. And I guess we'll talk about it again tomorrow. I was on the phone with Matt yesterday, and he was talking about. I'm going to jump ahead. He started somewhere else, but I'm going to jump ahead to sort of like as we started digging into this idea that there's all these brands out there that leverage the CrossFit community, and then there's brands that contribute to the CrossFit community, like they're part of it. And it started tripping me out. And then I listened to your podcast. You did a podcast. It was like called like Bible with Me or something. I can't remember what it's called, but it was a Bible podcast. And getting biblical with Jake Lockert. It was from 10 months ago. And the host said to you, you guys, like you said, Jake, you guys do CrossFit through and through. And I started tripping because it's what Sousa was proposing to me, that there's these brands like CrossFit Mayhem that have not swayed from the path and that keep contributing to the community by like staying true, like selling coffee, selling meat, selling CrossFit programming, as opposed to leveraging the community and acting like they're different than the community and selling things that are like, oh, we have something better, you know, instead of kind of innovating and adding. And I just thought it was fascinating because that podcast you did that I forget what it was called, but you talked about how Mayhem wears its values on its sleeve. Like those are face forward. The values are as much facing forward as the programming or what you can get out of it. And I remember when I first started talking to Rich, it was like in 2010 or something. And I said something to him. I'll never forget it. I said, hey, dude, so stupid. I said it. Maybe you should tone down the religious shit because you're going to alienate people. And 20, or 12 or 13 years later, I'm like, oh my God, he was so right. That was so dumb. It's like not farting around your date when you first go out with her. It's like, nah, obviously you need some grace period, but just be yourself. And that's the quickest way to find a good mate. Because if you be yourself and someone still loves you, I know farting was a little crass. I apologize. But you need to be yourself so that you push away those who don't really want to be with you and you attract those who do want to be with you so you can have a long-lasting a relationship. And I just thought, wow, CrossFit Mayhem is truly a remarkable element in this community. I think beyond what most people know too. I don't know if you know this, Jake. Sorry, I know this is supposed to be me asking you questions, but the number one place for people to take their L1 was Cookeville, Tennessee, for many years. It still might be. And that's it's so far off the beaten path. And there's a reason why people went there to take their L1. And for the longest time, I thought, well, it's because of Rich Froning, but it's more than that. It's because of what Rich Froning built, right? It's what he attracted to him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't have to talk. I'm perfectly okay with
Just gonna bathe in it for a minute.
I like it.
You can be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I thought we were going to talk about thrusters.
People just keep walking the door. No, I like a lot of what you said. It's very true. I like the word authenticity, I guess. And Rich is very authentic. And then naturally Mayhem has become very authentic as well. And so it's a ton of areas, media, what you see, programming, and then they can come here. And in a lot of ways, what you see is what you get. And since Rich, I don't even know what year you said, but 2010, when he's on the scene, since then to now, like when you meet him in person versus what you saw on the competition floor versus in a video, he's pretty much the same there as he would be here. And so then when you do that, people just resonate with it. And obviously he's super likable. And then we have tried to consistently do what we say and say what we do for a long time. And so I guess it's almost like that build up of that evidence and then work into that. Now it's coming out in the back end, all that growth from that. Just a long time of doing that, right? Like any other successful platform or company or business, they try to be who they say they are and do the right thing and do good things and over provide and value in that way. And now it's coming back in a lot of good ways too.
And those values are there's four things, right? What is it? Fitness, faith, family,
service.
Yeah.
Faith, family, fitness, service is usually how we roll them out.
Those are the broad. What do you call those? Values.
We call them the core values of Mayhem.
But there's also this thing where it's like, hey, we're not gonna lie to you about the fact that we're doing CrossFit. We're not telling you, like, you're just so transparent about that. I feel like so many other people, and by the way, Susan and I will get in this tomorrow. I'm being gentle because I don't want to drag Jake into the mud.
Yeah,
we will blast some motherfuckers tomorrow. Not blast, that's not fair. But you have to hold something black up next to something white to show the difference between black and white. And you have to hold blue up and red up to show the difference. So tomorrow, I think we're going to get into a little bit more about how crazy it is, how true, and it hasn't been easy for Mayhem. They've had their bumps with HQ, you know, but they did it. They stayed true to those. They didn't lie in order to try to distinguish themselves or pull the wool over anyone's eye to try to distinguish themselves from what everyone else is doing. Hey, how long have you known Rick? Go ahead, Jake. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I have to answer that. I just agree. I mean, that's what we have always said is it's true. We just do CrossFit. I know, like, I don't even know what the conversation is tomorrow. I have zero awareness of what's going on, but I don't know if it's talking about programming or just products in general. But we have, like, even the off season, that's a specific example. But like after the opens up, a lot of people are going to stop, quote unquote, doing CrossFit and they'll start building aerobic base, you're getting stronger, stuff like that. We still do that, but like every day, for the most part, you're still going to do CrossFit, like some metabolic conditioning that people look at and be like, oh, it's a CrossFit workout. So in that real specific way, we stay true to like, yeah, we just do a lot of CrossFit. We do it year round and we have fun doing it too. So it's not like you have to force it or fabricate what we're doing. So whether you see it's like a remote, like you follow me, an athlete 1,000 miles away, you walk in the door here, there's going to be 100 people doing it too. And the majority of it is CrossFit, what people think of that. So, yeah.
And the guy was he's kind of been in all the crevasses of CrossFit, right? He was the L1 trainer. He owns the affiliate. He did the games. He's participated in the fundraisers. He just does it all. He hasn't partitioned it into just one, just the games guy. He's everything. It's all there.
Yeah, for sure. And he's been doing it as long as longer. So yeah.
There are other people doing stuff like that. Obviously, there's Becca Voigt. Susan had the honor of meeting her the other day, and I think that's what kind of inspired some of that for him. He's like, hey, here's a 10-time CrossFit Games athlete who's also an affiliate owner who participates in CrossFit, in all the ways. And obviously the great Scott Panchik. I wonder if that's gonna go away. I'm trying to think if there's other, and then there's these other freaks of nature like Ariel Lowen. What a fresh piece of fresh air it is that she just trains. She does her training at an affiliate. And how about that freak that you guys had pop up in the Open last year, beating in the first 2 workouts, beating everyone in the world. What the fuck was that?
Charlie,
yeah. Hey, did Rich even know who he is?
At the time he met him, we'd all met him. Yeah, he's a super quiet dude, like the corner of the gym, just like whatever he's doing, it's super fast. I told him he should go do a Spartan race in High Rocks. He actually won.
Oh, that's mean. That's mean. That sounds like some calculated shit to get him out of the.
That's where CrossFitters go to die.
That's that subversive shit.
No.
Hey, you're too good at CrossFit. Get out of here. You beat Rich one more time and you're done. You remember?
His card doesn't work.
Meaning he's built for that type of stuff, like the high rock stuff.
Yeah, I mean the first two workouts are all engine and go, and he has like a sub 5 minute mile, like sub maybe 18-minute 5K, and he's straight up 100% built to do a high rock. I told him he could make worlds at that if he went and did a high rocks like local. He went and did a Spartan race like we did last year, and he won the RX division because he couldn't sign up for elite. So hopefully he'll go do a high rock soon. Because I think you could literally win one if it's like in Nashville or wherever.
Oh God, wouldn't it be great if you put it to Hunter? How old's Charlie?
He's older than I thought he was. He's 32.
Okay, so, Hunter's 35.
Over the hill.
I'm saying Charlie is insane fast and like just got that. He's perfect for high rocks. So I hope he does it. I'm gonna send him this later.
Yeah, please do. Hey, and if he does do it, and you guys, I'm guessing, you guys start training him, like, and you guys make a Beat Hunter shirt or something. Tell me, I want to have him. I want to have him on and stoke the fire. I really would love to stoke that fire.
Not planning ECs there.
Yeah, Mayhem Beat the Hunter. How it is. I had started hearing that you do the programming for Mayhem, and then I had last time I had Rich on. Your actual title over there is, don't tell me, I wrote it down here, a director of online programming at CrossFit Mayhem.
Yep, and January 1 it just updated. I'm also president of Mayhem Nation now too.
Oh, shit.
Oh wow!
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How I didn't even know you and Rich and the gang have a Bible like reading show too. I didn't even know that. I came across that yesterday, where Rich reads the Bible. That shit'll accidentally convert me. I listened to that for 20 minutes. I had to turn that off. I got Jews in the house. That shit will fuck me up.
Just keep it low. Keep it quiet.
That kind of blew me. I had no idea it was like 5 of you guys sitting up behind a desk, and then Rich is like, "Okay, everyone," and then you guys do Bible reading hour, and then some like smart girl, I don't know who that is, like explains to the boys what was actually said.
Yeah, it's been like over a year because we had a podcast studio. It's hopefully it's done here like the next week or two. But we went through. It's like the book of, I think it's 1 Samuel, basically King David in his story, and he has this what they call the mighty men and.
Yeah, Rich is like, I identify with David a lot, so we're going to start with David. I was like, yeah, sure.
Right. There you go.
Let's do it, yeah.
We just read a chapter and then talk about it, and Tasia was on there a lot. I guess that
Tasia, yeah, that was the smart girl, the brunette, yeah.
Yeah, Tasia always had the great input. So it'd be a few of us, Tasia, sometimes Jim Hensel, a couple others, and we just literally read it, talk about what it meant, what they were trying to tell us, and then what it can, like, I guess, mean for our lives now.
I liked it how the guy on the end was like, this reminds me of when Rich had his beef with Matt. I'm like, oh yeah, good way to slip that in there, buddy. And fuck the whole video up. Good job. As soon as he says that too, I just stare at Rich to see if like he gives like, you know what I mean? Like, he's stoked and shit, but like, oh, does Rich flinch or start twitching and shit?
A little tell.
So I started tripping when I heard your name. I'm like, wow, there's this guy that does the programming for Mayhem. What insane responsibility. And that must put on him, and how proud that person must be to be involved in that. And then I started poking and prodding at Rich last time and he was on, and he painted this picture of it being sort of this, my words, not his, but I pictured you as sort of being the curator, an aggregator as much as programmer, meaning, and I romanticized it, but I imagined you like sneaking into the gym at night. He said, obviously it's not at night. He says you're present throughout the day, but you looking at the boards and seeing what Rich did and taking notes and then taking pictures. And then he ruined it for me and told me you guys share everything on a notes app on an iPhone, kind of ruined that. But I pictured you having like this leather journal and you pull everything together every day. And then you would feed out what was best to the world. Based on what you know and based on what you saw Rich do and what you saw the gang do. But either way, there are all these tracks, you know, Darren does the affiliate one, but it's somehow you're responsible on some level for these obscene amount of athletes who are going to the CrossFit Games and on the other end, people all over the world just doing CrossFit.
Yeah, for sure. I just had to Google a curator, man. But it sounds like that's accurate.
Hey, I use words all the time. I have no idea what they mean. It's very safe.
Shot in the dark.
Yes, yes. You're kind of a curator, aggregator, and creator also. It's like this whole these three things.
Definitely. Like mom, even family members ask me what I do for a living. I'm like, I don't know what I do for a living. But no, so Rich has his doc, and we just started Man Athlete. You go back like 2016, I'm pretty sure it was what's Rich doing. It was literally what did Rich do 2 weeks ago? We put it in Modify. That's what people did, and we can talk more about how it's like evolved 100 times since then. But now, Monday was a good example. I literally went to the Tennessee Tech Library so no one could find me, and did a few hours of like deep work. So I would program 3-4 weeks out for the open track. And some of those Metcons I've created, some stuff I like to save from workouts I like, and some of Rich's workouts. And so from that, it'd be like, what's today's workout? It's Echo Bike, bar muscle up, Echo Bike for intervals for the open athlete. Like semifinals and games, it's scaled up. We're going to do more reps today and maybe a little more rest to get similar stimulus, more. In a lot of afternoon sessions, I'll take workouts Rich has done that may not be where on compete. Compete's kind of like the main bulk track if you're competitive, you follow. And so I'll take those, sometimes put them in compete, sometimes Rich will do the compete version and like scale it up or change a little bit. So I'll use his workouts. So there's some overlap, right? That we'll use from there, put all it in. I'm also pulling in what the Bergeners write for all the strength lifting. Like they write all of that. And so I pull that in. Most days are pretty similar. Some days I have to adjust based on what the bulk Metcon was. Also, Pamela Gagnon does her gymnastic programming.
Hey, does she live in Cookeville? Does that lady live in Cookeville? Pamela?
No, she lives in North Carolina, I think it is. But she comes over like for every training with Rich, and then we need to do something film.
Have you met her?
Great. Oh yeah.
I'd like to have her on there. She's been around forever. That's an impressive human being.
Oh, you should for sure. I haven't been around a ton of gymnastic coaches, but from what I can tell, she's as good as literally anyone in the world at coaching gymnastics, and she's still super fit. So
her Instagram account is, God, if you don't follow that, people, it's got to be one of the most valuable Instagram accounts out there. What was her last? Pamela
Gagnon, Gagnon.
Yeah, Susie doesn't even follow her. Huge mistake.
This isn't my personal one.
Oh.
I follow her.
Hey, steal from her, people. This is the ultimate account to plagiarize from. This girl knows her stuff, and she will scale, and she will. This is how many followers does she have? This is a crazy underutilized human being.
Just over 275,000.
Oh, okay. So okay. So she's gotten. I remember when she was just nothing, crumbs. Dang.
276.
Okay. So to get us back on track, Jake, so there's all of these people who are doing this programming, and you're that's the aggregating, curating piece. And you're so does Darren do his own track? Are you involved with the affiliate programming at all?
Yeah, I oversee that as well. Darren, so the bulk workout every day, like today I said was bar muscle ups, bar muscle up, bike. And I think a lot of career Metcon session 1 I'll program or write. Some Darren will do. And sometimes we'll pull Rich and be like, hey, what do you think about this? You got any ideas? So a lot of those first bulk main workout is me or Darren, and affiliates usually the same workout, or like today, I think I look it up. It might be Echo Bike and chest to bar, Echo Bike instead of bar muscle up. So like every track is on that same thread. Affiliate as well, compete or bodyweight track. And like that main workout is what this all built off of. And then after that, after we create that, we'll make that the main thread, and then we'll curate. I'll pull in Bergender, gymnastics, either a right aerobic or get it from Mitch or Hinshaw, and kind of pull all those pieces together based on time of the season, what's our plan, and like what fits where, like the building blocks.
How many weeks ahead are you?
Oh, that you said like that notebook. I do have it. It's just all Google Docs. Right now I'm doing good. I'm like a month ahead. Not like every piece, but like the main Metcon and the strengths build out through the open, which made it easy because I know I'm going through 23.3. And the week after, yesterday I got through almost a week of quarterfinals, which is like March 14th. So we're in a good spot right now.
Yeah, congratulations. When I was at CrossFit, the programming fell underneath the media department, and the guy who did it was so amazing. But it was
like the scheduling of it, or actual writing the workouts.
Everything, dude. Everything. He
Really?
He basically did it for more than 10 years. We would never say his name, but now I'll say his name because he got fired. Leif Edmondson. Huge mistake to fire him. And he had to take to manage all the basically he would have to program in a vacuum for 2 years, and then 3 months would come by and everyone would stick their nose into it for some reason. Like all of a sudden, Dave, Greg, or Nicole, or I don't know who, but some people would all of a sudden be like, hey, we want to do this for the programming, or people have ideas, and he worked a little bit with Sherwood and Hobart, but it all fell on one guy. And to do that and be in charge of all of publishing at CrossFit and like have it all together and the workouts and the videos, like the stress must have been, and you have to make sure it gets posted, and it's there the day. So that's kind of you.
Yeah.
Except you always have tons of input, which doesn't necessarily make it easier.
They just help facilitate it. It's better in a lot of ways.
You ever fight with them? No, Darren, we can't do muscle ups again. It's been 3 days in a row. Have you lost your mind? Did you fall down and bump your head?
That happens every once in a while. Darren's super sharp. But no, they really come to me like, hey, what's the next thing we want to do? You need to make a Mayhem athlete, like for the strength cycle, or Pamela. We just called like last week, plan out the next 2 gymnastic pieces. And me and Darren, we call it 2-3 times a week, and we have a shared doc. So we go through that.
How often do you have to call someone and be like, hey, you have pooling 3 days in a row? You have pushing 3 days in a row. Do you have to do that?
Every couple of weeks. It was comment in the Google Docs, comment at each other, at Darren, why are we pushing again? Darren loves to push.
Yeah. Why are we pushing
again? At this point, it doesn't happen a bunch. Darren's like 98% of the time, like, is spot on. And then hopefully this point, everyone has their biases though. I ask people like, hey, look what I did. Like something's not going to make sense. Eventually I need to know, because once it gets out there, over thousands of people are doing it, and we don't need that. So
Michael C just switched to Mayhem 50 cal bike, 50 pull-ups, 50 cal bike, 753. Nasty. Does that person know what they're talking about? Is that a real Mayhem CrossFit workout?
Yeah, let's check this out. Come other tab. I think that might be the affiliate workout today. Yep, that's the affiliate workout today. So today's compete workout is intervals. Like I said, a bike, bar muscle bike, intervals, and the affiliate workouts just straight through 50, 50, 50. Thanks, Michael. Yeah. Hey,
I've done something to my bicep here. I don't know what. doing dumbbell too heavy dumbbell snatches. If I want to do that workout, what could I sub for the pull-ups?
You can't pull it all.
I can. I could just you could be like, hey, don't be a pussy and push through the pain. I could do this. That's what you would say. Just grab the bar like this instead of like this.
No, I'm actually a physical therapist too, so absolutely don't do that.
Okay.
It's not the same stimulus off the top of my head. You could do push-ups just to save the biceps, so it's gonna be different. But
yeah, I've been doing tons of push-ups. Yeah, my titties are getting nice.
Do 25 burpees. That way you'll keep it more aerobic still.
Okay.
Do that. 50 cal bike, 25 burpees, 50 cal bike.
What's Sevon doing? I'm doing 50 to 25.
He's selling it right there.
Yeah, he's gonna have a competing program. Maybe it'll fall under the Mayhem umbrella. It's a thing under Masters.
The Vaughn track. We need another track. Yeah.
Vaughn
scale. This is Vaughn scale. That can be it.
It's just assault bike. Replace everything with the assault bike.
What's it today? Assault bike. Tomorrow, assault bike.
So you do this, and there's thousands of people around the world obviously doing it, tens of thousands. How many of those people have aspirations to go to the CrossFit Games? Do you know?
Great question.
Maybe there's no way to know that.
I thought this at the top of my head. By aspirations, you just mean they're doing it in hopes that either next year or 10 years they make the CrossFit Games. Subdivision.
Or you know, maybe even broader than that. They don't want to necessarily make it to the games. They want to be competitive. They'd like to make it to the quarterfinals or the semifinals.
Those people, we got like 6,000, 7,000, I would say, over 5,000 people.
Holy shit!
In that pool, like they don't necessarily want to make it to the games, but they want to do everything. They want to see the programming. They want to participate in it. They want to, you know, like the people who do SEAL Fit. Like they don't want to be a SEAL necessarily, but they want to see what it's like to stay awake for 4 days and have dudes yell at them. They want to dabble. They want to try to see how good they are without like full commit. And all the way to the people like Guy who are like fully committed, obviously.
Do at least the open, maybe quarterfinals, so they're gonna throw down local comps, stuff like that.
Yes.
I would say we'll say in the realm of, or maybe around 5,000 people.
And then how many games athletes do you think went to the games who do Mayhem programming in 2022 last year? Who actually showed up at the games in either masters, kids, the individual, the whole shebang?
Let's see here. I got the list. So last year we had, I hope this is accurate. I think it was 17 indies. I want to say 18 for some reason. 17, 10 teams, 4 teens, and then 19 masters. So if you add all that together, it's like age groups 23, the teams multiply that by 4, it's 63. So we were right at 80 or so people at CrossFit Games, and then a couple.
Oh, because the teams have 4.
Yeah.
Hey, that's nuts. And then you have people like does Jason Grubb work for Mayhem?
No, but he's a sponsored athlete and reps it super well. Like we have a partner.
God, he reps it super well. He is like, I'm glad you said that. He's off the hook.
Jason's the man. Yeah, he was here for a few months through the winter. And he's coming back soon, I hope. I actually worked out with him almost every day. He's my workout buddy for a while. So, me and Grub, I text him pretty regularly. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he's awesome. And okay, so if that's 8, let's say it's what was the number you said? 80 what?
80 from all divisions. Like I think it's 82 because then we got a couple in the adaptive.
Okay, we're counting those. We're counting those.
That's your call. I'm counting them.
Yeah. That was just a test, buddy.
Yeah, careful with them. He's fishing.
Absolutely,
just testing you, buddy. Don't fuck it up, Jake. I threw you an alley-oop. Don't bobble it and miss, buddy. You're supposed to be like, of course, Sevon. Don't be disrespectful, asshole. Remember, bad cop, good cop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, and so 84. So that means there's probably. I wonder how many people do it, but you don't know do it. I want to say a 10% contingency. I want to give you like 8.4 more.
I like it. That's a good number. We'll say 90. Let's keep it round.
Okay.
Because
we were close to 100, and I was like, man, I know there's a few more out there that like at Wadapalooza, we had 120 or so athletes, but I know like 5 to 10% you're just gonna miss just because of communication.
Yeah, Wadapalooza seemed like everybody there was a Mayhem athlete. It was like you guys honed them all into Miami one time just to flex real hard.
Yeah.
Do you guys when you know something like that's happening, do you guys have a party or anything for did you guys have a get together? Do you guys do anything? Is there time for that?
At the games we did a meetup for everyone, like right before, like we gave them a box with other gear and stuff, which is really cool, and kind of gave them some, pre-strategy and then motivation. So that was good. The games at the Wadapalooza, we did a meetup. It was tougher just because travel schedules. That one was like filled out, but we did do that at a gym close by. So we're starting to do that more and more at the games for sure. And semifinals is that naturally, and then Wadapalooza will do that annually too.
Is there anyone even close to you guys? Is there anyone that has 40 athletes who went to the games?
I don't know. I did see a video last year breaking down the individual side, we had like the 17, 18. I think the next closest was like not even double digits. So
Yeah.
I want to say no, but I haven't done the exact math.
And why do you think you guys are so successful in that space?
I do tell people, I think our bread and butter, I mean, it's just, I mean, Rich is definitely the main cause of that. Like he's had won the CrossFit Games well over more than anyone else. So he's obviously very good at preparing, making the CrossFit Games and winning it. So it naturally flows from that. So the training that we deliver to people is very good at getting them ready for semifinals through it to the games. People have recognized that, seen success, came on. So that's one. Two, our training environment is very good. We just released a video that showcases it well, but it's not, I think it is competitive, but like you're not running each other in the ground. So it's going to be a fun environment to be in, somewhere you look forward to going to every day, and you need to look forward to training when you're grinding that much, that many hours at that intensity. Otherwise, you'll get burnt out and just not enjoy it. So the training environment really is enjoyable. When people get here physically, like they see that and they latch on. So that helps add to that number naturally. And then we're authentically who we are, like you were saying from the beginning, like say is what you get. I'm a huge believer in over delivering on values, like give, and then they'll just come back to you, or you could ask at the end and people will be happy to give back. So yeah, Austin. So you look forward to the pain every day. Like today's workout was kind of hurt, but just because we've written so many workouts for so long, Rich has, and now Darren and I hope we've gotten pretty good at making it enjoyable to suffer through. Kind of like that unique balance of, man, that was awful, but I know I got better, and you do it with your buddies, and that's how people essentially get better and better. And then the games is just the pinnacle of that within the Mayhem athlete. So last year was cool because it just hockey stick from how many games athletes there were repping us.
A lot of people will talk about, the things that make someone, a good games athlete. And you hear about whatever programming they're doing, or their genetics, or how long they've been in the sport, or what their background was before they came in. But the one that keeps just I keep thinking about nonstop is, and I want to say it's 51%, but I don't have no clue what I'm talking about, is the who is most comfortable in the pain cave. That really, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Who, when they get on that assault bike, or who's willing to, your brain tells you to let up and you ignore it one time. Your brain tells you to let up, you ignore it 2 times. Your brain tells you to let up, you ignore it 3 times. And they're willing to like flirt with, I guess, and I have no experience with this, like none. They're willing to flirt with where the body actually starts shutting down and the brain has like no, I just found out the other day, Jake, that games athletes don't stop doing burpees because they run out of metabolic conditioning like I do. It's because they start having muscular fatigue. I can't even fucking fathom that. I can't fathom muscular fatigue coming from doing burpees. So I'm not even I'm not even doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? For me, it's like, oh, I can't breathe. I need to stop for a second or slow down. Do you think that mental piece, that ability to push through pain, is just enormous?
Yeah, it's definitely bigger than the average Joe.
Do you think it's 50%? Like who? No,
I don't think it's 50% though.
No.
Think,
okay. So you think there's guys who go to the games who only give it 90%, competing against guys who give it 100%, maybe?
Like from a pain perspective, how much they're enduring, maybe. I think genetic potential is definitely the biggest part of it.
Okay.
I mean, like you're not going to the NFL unless you're just a straight baller, right? Like there's such a high level of like ability you have to have physically to make the NFL. And if they're saying the games, we're saying like the Super Bowl, basically. Someone's going to be just amazing, God-given talent and physical ability. Then from there, there's a ton of other intangibles, like you're saying, like mental toughness and pain endurance, all those things that they need to be the best. But I wouldn't say it's 51%. It's hard to.
This guy's saying it's 10. This guy's saying it's 10%. I like, just for me, and I'm old also, so there's always this thing of like, hey, I know I can push so hard that I hurt myself. Like it's like at 50, I think every 50-year-old can do that. I don't know how old you are when that happens. I mean, I just know that, hey, I could get on the assault bike right now and push and like throw my back out. Like I just know it's doable. Like I have
On the
more-
assault bike?
dude, anything. I have more strength. I'm old. I have
really
more
leans
strength,
into
and
it.
I could do anything almost and hurt myself. But so you're saying that no, it's not people's brains holding them back as the biggest problem.
The biggest problem now, because I think that a lot of games athletes are great at suffering and like pushing to 100% intensity, and especially competition. You don't need to do that in training, but I think there's some average Joes out in the class who probably can do that too. It's just they just don't got it physically.
Right. Their recovery, their genetics, they're not getting the benefit that someone else is from it.
Yeah, I mean, if your ceiling on a snatch is 185 pounds, you're never gonna snatch more. You're not going anywhere with that.
Damn it.
Yeah, Jessica, I walk in, I'll end up hurting myself. Yeah, it's I mean, so it's totally like that. It's totally like that. Hey, because it even was like that. I used to ride I used to go on long hill rides all the time, and I could stay standing and just keep pushing until my back goes out. And I could do it every time. I just had to be fucking smart. Sometimes when I hear Rich talk now, I'm like, oh, I think he's found some things where he could push into the hurt place too. Where you're like, hey, I better not go there. It's like guaranteed something's gonna break.
Yeah, for sure. Like with his knee, we'll talk about it. I mean, not to discount.
Hey, were you concerned when he did that run with Cam, 20-mile run? Were you like, dude, you knucklehead?
I didn't know he did 20 miles, and it was gonna be long. I haven't seen him yet. Tomorrow.
Is that on his Instagram?
He posted it on his Instagram. He's like, I wouldn't have done this for most people. I'm like, dude, you shouldn't have done it for this fucking dude. What are you doing?
I'm impressed. Dang.
Maybe it was 20 kilometers, but either way, I think it was 20 miles.
No, it'd have been 20 miles if he was with Cam. That's for sure. That's like his normal run.
Yeah, not to discount mental toughness. Once you're at that level, like there's dudes that are more mentally tough. They're doing better than dudes that have more ability, but they just are better enduring pain or better at like making decisions in competition, whatever, those little things, just pushing the pain cave. So once you're there, it's super important. But like getting there, you just got to have a lot of physical ability.
Why didn't you go further in your? What was the highest you went in your competitive career?
That's a great
Did you ever
example,
make it as a team to the games?
Not the games. I made it 2014 on CrossFit Mayhem. The team that year I made regionals, and then a couple teams after that with a team CrossFit Hendersonville to regionals. But
look at Rich is like wearing a dress shirt and shit. What's he wearing? I'm just going out. I just came over. He's probably in jeans too.
Is that Scott behind him running too? Like
Scott, Scott was
poor Scott.
He ran a couple like 6-7 milers last week to get ready. Yeah, dang, they did do 20 miles.
20 miles.
Hey, dude, that's crazy if the camera guy ran 20 miles with the camera in his hands. That is nuts. That's a sure way to hurt yourself. Be holding this shit like this while you're running. Everyone else gets to swing their arms.
That's dedication.
Hey, Sevon is disappointed. Rich isn't shirtless. There's a video in there of him doing bow training, and I thought it was ridiculous that he had his shirt on.
Yeah, that's what I'm watching now.
That's exactly that's exactly what I thought when I saw that. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Hey, so what stopped you, Jake, from going further?
Oh, was it?
Physical, mental.
Physical, yeah, I did. Because I train as much as the games athletes. Like I was addicted to working out. I mean, still am at some level, but like I would train 3-4 hours a day.
You were Rich's training partner for a while. You and your buddy were Rich's training partner. You got the text message, come to the barn, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what, I mean, I was already like going as hard as I could, and then that was 2013 when what people think of as the other location across the man opened. We got the text, and then we were all in that season. We didn't do every workout Rich did, but we did close. So like we trained as much as we physically could. In the next 3 or 4 years, trained super hard. And like then they were taking like top 20 or 30 to regionals. I made one year like almost 50th. I'm like giving all I can. I just literally did not have it. Like I'm 6'2", number one, so I'm doing more work every rep. Number two, I just literally wasn't good enough. I wanted to be. So one team got 10th at regionals, and I love competing. I still do. Like every once in a while, it's fun, like just a local comp. But I just didn't have it physically. So yeah.
So for those people who have aspirations, is it kind of a wait and see? So you're an 18-year-old guy, and you're like, okay, I'm fortunate enough to be able to train with Rich, and so you start training with Rich, and he calls you and he's texting you, so you start training with him, and then you just have to go to bed at night, and it's kind of like the tooth fairy. You have to wake up in the morning and be like, how did my genetics recover? Did I get stronger? It's kind of like a wait and see game, right?
Yeah, I mean, not like a day. I think it's years.
Okay.
Because you're 18 and you start doing CrossFit, it's going to take you, unless if you're a freak, yeah, it may only be a couple years. Probably take you at this point 3, 4, maybe 5 years to actually make the games. You just got to just tracking where you're at. There's baseline numbers you need to hit with snatch and clean and jerk, some aerobic measures, then just measure in the open and quarterfinals how you're doing. And if you're getting substantially closer each year, then you probably know, okay, it's a realistic shot. If you either hit your ceiling and level off, like, let's say quarterfinals, you're only making like 90th. Couple 2-3 years in a row, you're probably not going to go to semifinals and make it. But if you're every year, like you qualified, the next year you're 80th and you're 40th, and then at semifinals you're moving from like the first heat to the last heat, then you know, okay, you're tracking on the right track to know how to get there. So that's a good way to like quantify it. Then some people too in the gym, you can see them move, and they just move so well and so like either explosive or fast, and like the way they do workouts, you can just see they kind of have it. I have a few guys in my mind who are younger that I'm like, they have a shot. They're younger guys. They don't move like exactly like Rich or some of those other like great cross athletes, but it's that similar movement, you know, like when they do a thruster and they go to the chest to bar, like it just looks how it should look and everything's smooth and they're fast. And you kind of know like, okay, this guy can have it.
What about these athletes who are really good? There's two in particular I'm thinking of who have holes in their game. Could those holes be permanent if there's a huge genetic component?
I think the holes can be filled, but like they just got ceilings, right? Like I think some people
really there really are ceilings for everyone. God,
yeah,
I'm struggling to believe that. I'm trying to think like that everyone could be as good as the best guy, but it just can't. You're just saying no. Look at that guy. Do you watch football? That quarterback for Kansas, Mahoney. That guy has a body that looks like a fucking Oompa Loompa. that guy looks like the least athletic person I've ever seen in my fucking life, and yet the way he throws the football is like I haven't watched football in 20 years, but I watched the fucking Cincinnati Kansas game at a bar, and I just stood in front of a TV and watched. I couldn't believe that body is capable of that stuff he was doing. It was absolutely nuts. So isn't there hope for everyone? Yeah, this guy.
I don't think your facial attraction.
This isn't even this guy's body is just a train wreck. This guy moves just like a goofball. And yet, so I mean, if he can do it, right? Or no, am I wrong? Are you like, Stefan, shut up? You don't know shit about football.
I mean, it's like talking about like how like body fat percentage and like goofiness doesn't. I mean, a lot of times it means that he's probably not very athletic or strong or fast, but sometimes there's just people that don't look super fit and they're like incredibly fit, right? How I thought Ben Davidson, our cameraman here, you know Ben.
Yes. He looks like he just came out of the woods. Yes, like he lives in a gingerbread house. Yes, yeah. I know him.
He does not look that fit.
Yeah.
All the time.
I don't know. He kind of does. He always has like that shirt. Like he's that guy who's been wearing the same shirt that he does camera work in as he works out, and his shit's always stretched out. I know that sneaky cameraman fit, but you're right. Not to your untrained eye, but I could tell. He has like one shirt.
Oh gosh. So, but yeah, I mean, body fat percentage does not correlate to metabolic capacity, and then. To answer your other question, like, dude, we for sure, like, Stefan, we could not ever, I could train my whole life, I'll never snatch 300 pounds.
Okay.
And, like, you have a ceiling there too. Some people can train their whole life, and, like, if he wanted, he could probably snatch close to 400 pounds if you just train that. But he still has a ceiling too. So, in that sense, yeah. And then if some people have holes, like, I think you can really attack those holes. But, like, if you're trying to get your snatch from 200 to 225, like, maybe over the next couple of years, you get to 220. Some people's walking the door to do 245. And games athletes is much higher, but like they can help fill those holes, I think, but it doesn't mean they're ever going to be like the best at that specific skill or component of fitness.
Then there's crazy statements like this. Michael Halstead, aesthetics aren't and performance are not the same. Listen, buddy. I saw Dave Castro with his 0 calves do 200 double unders for time against I think Rich was there and Camille was there and
Tahoe?
Miko Salo was there. Yeah, and I think Dave crushed them, beat them all. Now, you're right. But have you ever seen any fat sloppy games athletes? So don't say aesthetics and performance are not the same. All those people look fucking amazing. So just easy with that. They're not the same. Okay. Dave's not going to the fucking games. You chill out.
Some of them look like they get a bodybuilding show that day, and some of them are like, yeah, they got like lines, like they're cut, but they're not like, you know what I mean? Like, you look up Oldest, he's a man athlete. I can't even say his last name. That dude is like a straight bodybuilder. He is chiseled.
Oh, Oldest Upanex?
Yeah.
Yeah, or Keelan Henry, or that guy from Mexico looks. I don't even know what his chest is doing. What's that guy's name? He's so stacked. Someone will say his name in the comments. He opened like with a 325 snatch or something in some at sanctionals last year or something. I think he failed.
Holy crap!
Or what was that?
Is it Anthony? Anthony Davis? Are you talking about?
No, not Anthony Davis. This guy's Mexican. He's from Mexico. He's like the only yeah, this guy, Luis Oscar Mora. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But there's no schleps going to the games. Don't anyone be like, well, aesthetics don't matter. Like there's not one sloppy mofo in the men's or women's division. So easy with your aesthetics don't matter. Don't. They're a great correlate. Don't get it twisted. Although Hiller got destroyed at the gauntlet at oh, that's Moya?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that top left photo with that purple shirt on. Even when he's
yeah, look at his arms and shoulders. Yeah.
That's the way my thighs used to rub when I was like 3 years old.
Peak.
You have 2 boys, huh, Jake?
I do. I got 2 boys, and then in like 4 weeks I'll have a girl.
Holy cow. How old are your boys?
Jake is 3.5 and Josiah's 1.5.
Oh, you're doing this perfect.
We're on clockwork.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Do you know how many you're gonna have?
That's a great question. We always said 4, so 4 or 5, maybe. We may adopt eventually, but maybe have one more. Biological and then maybe adopt, but probably 4, maybe 5.
Adopting seems like a lot of work, like paperwork and like talking to people and like just doing stuff you don't want to do. Can't you just like give me one?
You'd think they make it easier for how many kids will need to be adopted, but there's a lot of work from what I hear.
Or they have someone just come into your house and like look around at your shit and be like, you're good to go.
Dude, just hang out in Yuma. You just grab one right as they come across the border. You're fine. No paperwork necessary. They're dreamers, dude. They won't even track where they went.
You get to choose from 8,000 kids every day.
All ages.
Not funny. How does would you say at its one of the foundations is the programming at Mayhem?
Yes.
So I would say that too. It's something that can't really be messed up.
I would say it's our core product.
Yeah, core product. Yes.
Well, I mean, it's hard.
You sound very corporate.
At the end of the day, we're a fitness company, and like our media is amazing, like bar none.
Yep.
Scott, Ben Bennett, they're the bomb. They're killing it, and they're featuring really the fitness here. So the fitness and therefore programming hand in hand is the core product.
How does one trust you? How did that happen that you get that position? It seems. God, it seems like something that would be so delicate. Like I wouldn't want to let it go. It's why I go to all my kids' practices. I'm not. Though they are my prized possession. I'm not like they're like, hey, why don't you leave like the other parents do and give your kids no, because you're not going to work with my favorite chainsaw while I'm fucking at home. You know, like that's my favorite chainsaw, and I'm going to watch that you use it.
Good question. So
tell me, I guess your relationship with him is what I'm curious about.
Yeah. So I got the text to go to the bar just because me and my buddy Den were gym rats. Then we started working out with him that whole year.
How did he get your phone number to text you?
That's a great question. I think he got it from Thomas Cox was the coach of the gym, and maybe he had it. So that's my best guess. I never asked him that. Him or Darren. Darren was the coach too.
How old were you then? What year was that?
Junior in college, so I was like 21. Yeah, no, 20 or 21. 21.
2013.
Yep.
And you were a member at CrossFit Mayhem?
Yeah, so Mayhem just moved to the location it used to be at. Like the first time it was like a big gym people would think of where all the L1s used to be. And they just opened. We was gym rats there all the time. Rich, we got the text. So we worked out with almost all the sessions that year.
Hold on. Don't get all speedy on me.
Whoa.
Hold on. I don't understand why. Has he won the games at that point?
Oh, you're asking. Yeah, so he's won the games twice.
And why is he calling you? I don't get it. Why would he text you? Was his training partner sick? Like, why would he call some randos? Why would he call some randos from the gym to come over to the? And that was to train like at his dad's house, in that like barn at his dad's house.
No, it was at his old house, his old barn. I think it's because 2012 it was CrossFit Cookville at the Tennessee Tech APC, right?
Okay.
And that was I get the timeline's fuzzy because I wasn't there and it's kind of confusing. It was like
that's okay. The spirit. I'm just looking for the spirit of the truth. I don't ever really care about the truth. You can quote me on that.
Out with two dudes at CrossFit Cookville, Easy, Elijah Muhammad and Donovan, but they moved. They got big boy jobs. Moved out of Cookville. You work out some with Thomas, who I think at that time he was like the coach at Tech for like lineman or whatever football. But I don't think he had like steady training partners for like every session. Me and Ben were just there all the time and had time with college. Darren was coaching, and Darren was Darren, so he didn't work out as much as Rich. And we were down for anything and everything. So I think because of that, just because Rich is a good dude, he's like, hey, these guys are working out, they're grinding. They didn't really ask anything. We just wanted to get better. So he texted us to come over, and I guess we got along good enough and didn't like annoy him, and he invited us back.
And how long did that happen for?
It was like maybe January, February. That's wild. That was like 10 years ago, almost right now. We literally that whole season. So that was the first season CrossFit had CrossFit Mayhem team who made the games. I was the alternate on that team. So really that whole year we trained the whole season, like every day until we made the games for the most part.
And have you met your wife at this point?
Oh, man, I should know that. I met her that fall. She came to Tech that fall as a freshman. So no.
Well, that's a good year.
It was a great year. Started working CrossFit Mayhem, met my wife. Yeah, lots of good things that year. Started working CrossFit Mayhem too, not just working out there.
And I guess also you had a bit. So you got to see his. So you would walk in, and would the workout already be written, or you would walk in and he'd be putting on his shoes or doing whatever. Hey guys, what's up? And then he'd walk over to the board and write something.
Yeah, so that's pretty accurate.
And so you guys, there were multiple things going on there. You were not only training with him, but learning how to move, getting the free programming, watching. You got to actually see his brain write programs. Do you remember that? And do you remember learning stuff? Or would you ever ask him, hey, why GHDs today?
We talked about that little. Me and Ben really just watching how to work out. We had no idea what we were doing, especially programming back then. Every once in a while, he'd ask us how to work out. Remember, we would just write something stupid on the board and be like, yeah, we're not doing that.
Oh, like he would be like, hey, do you guys want to write a workout? And he would let you write one?
He did. I remember one time in particular, and me and Ben tried to like co-write a workout, and it was just terrible. It was stupid. And he was like, what are y'all doing now? And he just erased it. And so he would like let us try to program, like teach us here and there. And that, after you see enough workouts, finally we could write a decent workout. But yeah, back in those days, every once in a while he would give us a chance, and we probably did not write a good workout.
And what would it be like? You would do one workout and then think you were done, and then he'd be like, you guys be like taking off your shoes or changing, be like, hold on a minute, guys, we're gonna do something else. Would it be shit like that happen?
I I'm sure it did happen.
Or did it ever go like he writes something and you're like, oh my God, we're gonna do another, I can't believe we're gonna do more.
Yeah, that'd be like at the end of the day more so. I'm sure it did happen. Like you did 4 or 5 workouts, like and you do one more just because it's races like that. So it did happen. And then back then though, like now we train smart. Like we'll do 2 really big sessions with athletes. Just to stay warm, keep moving through all the pieces. Whereas back then we do like sometimes 3 or 4 sessions, like a workout here, break. Eats up a lot more in the day, a lot more warming up. But so back then, yeah, it was a little different from that standpoint. And then you might get a text, hey, we're going to come back over this time later in the day, evening, stuff like that, because he didn't have kids and we were free then.
How does so because obviously when you meet Rich that he's a Bible guy, he's a Christian, right? But how does he find out that you're a Christian? Like one day you just kind of like show off, as you're getting out your clothes, you let the Bible fall out. Yeah, you let your Bible fall out of your gym bag. Oh, sorry, just doing some light reading over here.
It's a handshake.
Because that has to be that it's pretty easy. I'm starting after all these years. I'm starting to get it. He wants to be around people who have the same values as him, right? Like, don't steal, right? Or whatever those values are, those good values are that you Christians have. So he wants to be around those people, and he knows that if you're reading that book, and that you guys will align, right? So at some point he has to find out. Does he ever ask you just straight up, "Hey, are you Christian?"
No, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I can't imagine him saying that either. I just wanted to say that.
No,
leave no stone unturned.
College, so
say that again.
I worked at a campus ministry in college, so you probably knew that. Or just that's what I did for work. So naturally, yeah.
He just knows whatever the signs are. You have a bumper sticker on your truck that says "I love Jesus." I mean, he just knows.
WWJD.
Yeah.
Got the wristband.
Right?
I think it was natural conversation. I would assume it come up. Like, I honestly don't remember. I think Rich just wants to hang out be around good people in general, whether they're Christian or not. If he's a Christian, great, because it's another level of connect on, and you're definitely going to align a lot of values, but it's not like a prerequisite to be friends or.
No, I'm friends with them, and I'm still learning. But I do like having Christian friends because they have that book that has all those great values in it. I'm not, even though I'm making it seem funny, like I fully get it. Like I don't want to, but someone's following Mein Kampf. I don't really want you as my friend. You know what I mean? Like I don't want you kidnapping my 3 little Jewish boys in the middle of the night, starting an experiment. I need Christian friends, good Christian friends. So you start doing the workouts, and when does the evolution? Is there any way you can tell us the story of the evolution from being the guy who gets called to be his training partner one year to the El Presidente, El Jefe?
Yeah, doing my best.
If you start getting crazy fast, I'm gonna interrupt and slow you down, so don't worry.
Okay, I'll try to get slow.
Okay.
I wasn't like his only training partner. Me and Ben, Darren a lot, and Thomas Cox, they were on that CrossFit Mayhem team that year. So we all trained with him primarily that year. Then next year, still did some. We were coaching the gym. We didn't have another team. So I was just coaching the gym. That was 2014, Richmond.
And when you say coaching, you're on the payroll. You're an employee of CrossFit Mayhem.
Yep.
Okay.
Starting in 2015, I coached. I think it was
do you ask him if you can do that, or do you apply for that?
They had scoped out who they wanted to be coaches. It was like a handful of us guys that were there a lot, because Darren was the head coach. They only had few other assistant coaches, but they knew they wanted us all like coach like the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 class. And, like one of us took each of them, and they knew they wanted to like their interns, help with the intro classes, and kind of had our class. So they got us through that. The first level 1 in Cookville, you look at videos, Neil Maddox was there, Jason Khalifa, like Richmond, they were bunch of workouts. That was our level 1 that we got certified at, whatever the term is. So we started that. We just were coaching. That's what happened through 13, through 14. We're all still trying to compete, be competitive. We like work out before, coach, work out after our class. Since 2014, Rich wins the games, and the next year he's team. At this point in my life, 2014, I got married in August. So I got married, graduated college. I was pre-physical therapy. Decided to get my master's at Tennessee Tech because I wanted to hang around Cookville because I loved Mayhem. I really liked the church I worked for. My wife she finished college. She was going to work there in Cookville too. So
Did you meet your wife in church? Did you meet your wife in church?
The campus ministry, which is like the college part of the church. So
okay.
Yeah, I was like a student director, is how you'd say. And so I met her when she was a freshman. And then, so I'm working at Mayhem at that church. I get my master's as a GA in 15. Rich, he wins the games as teams. So we're also coaching. And then we started talking, hey, we need to start offering like programming, just like at that point, like I remember Easy had, Scott Panchik had, they just put out like basically their workouts. No one really had back in the day. CompTran was still free, I think. And so I guess it wasn't a priority, so it didn't happen. I think it was 2016 after the games. He won the games. He was like, hey, we're doing this. And he just posted on his Instagram. At that point, gym manager's like, oh, okay, we got to put this out.
How many employees are there at Mayhem at that time, 2016?
I mean, there's probably like 10-ish, because there's a bunch of us part-time coaches that coach like one class a day, maybe. There's a gym manager kind of oversaw it all. It was like she also worked at Tech, and then someone helped run apparel. At this point too, like Dre's moved to Cookville. He's starting to train there.
Who?
Do you know him? Dre Strom.
Oh yeah. That's the camera guy.
He was camera guy. He's now creative director.
Yeah, it's all the same to me. Camera guy, creative director. It's all the same. Yeah.
Darren's the only full-time employee though. So like 10 or so. Yeah.
Okay.
Full-time, 10 or so employees. Really only like one full-time. I was getting my master's in exercise science, and in this we were doing a study on an elite athlete in the field, and that elite athlete was Rich. And we would take like his biomarkers every quarter, do his VO2 max, his max lifts. And along with this, I was keeping a log of his workouts. So he'd just send me, back then it was not a good system, but we were keeping in Google Docs, like I would text him every few days and he'd send them to me your pictures.
Did he did he end up hating you for that? Like at first he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then he's like, fuck, this is a drag.
A little bit of just like, it was annoying because he never had to do that before, I'm sure. We actually had missed like a whole month of workouts just because they got busy and we didn't have like iPhone notes. Now it's so easy, you can just type in his notes right after each workout. But because I'd kept those, like done that with my masters, when we launched What's Rich Doing, and I was coaching there, it just made sense, hey, let Jake go ahead and keep doing this since he's doing it, and you can just oversee What's Rich Doing. So I would just get his workouts. And thank goodness, we still have 2 weeks.
Dude, this is fucking brilliant. So that's the point right there.
That was like
for some reason got this crazy idea that you had to do your master's. You kind of, you seem a little square to me, by the way, like just your haircut and you're clean shaven and the way you articulate, you seem like you could be a teacher, right? Are you a little square?
What does that mean, square?
You know, I
shaved today just for you. I was like, this was gruff.
Like you're like dorky, you're nerdy guy.
Yeah, I'm nerdy.
Like if like when you get to the camp, you're the guy who builds the fire right away, and you build a nice rock outline for it. Everything's nice and tight.
I wouldn't say, it just depends on what it is. For sure, not the campfire. But when we're talking about CrossFit fitness programming, I'd be the nerdy guy.
Yeah, it's clean. Everything's clean. Like your house is clean because of you.
My wife makes our house clean. I'm dirty. Because of the arena.
Don't ruin my impression of you. I see you as kind of okay. You, for some reason, I don't know. It sounded like you said you took your master's to stay there. Like you needed some sort of excuse to stay there. So you take your master's, but then, like a brilliant move. This is brilliant. You make your master's project Rich Froning. Is that right?
It worked out. It just worked out great because the professor I worked with does CrossFit. He wanted to do the study to publish a paper, and we wanted to use Rich, obviously. It wasn't my decision. I just followed through with it and tried to do a good job with that paper and also just keeping logs of Rich's workouts. And they knew I was reliable and wasn't gonna let this fall through the cracks, putting Rich's workouts in.
That's the nerdy piece, reliable. That's the code for nerdy, reliable.
Yeah, super nerdy. It has to be the right thing, but when projects, stuff like that, nerdy, 100%. So we launched it. We decided to keep it 2 weeks behind. So like if you do what's Rich doing today, it's what he did 2 weeks ago from today, because you can't put in what he did yesterday. Like, you know what I mean? There's got to be a catch up timeline. So that's what it started at, is in 16. And so for 6 months to a year, I think we just simply that, like, it was literally just, what did Rich do that day? It's in Modify, that's it. So I think it was 6 months later, we launched, we called biases. So it'd be like a conditioning bias, strength bias, and gymnastic bias, along with what Rich doing. And so you could go purchase those, and like strength bias was like a lot of lifting with the Metcon. Conditioning bias was a lot of conditioning, aerobic stuff with a little bit of strength, and gymnastic was a lot of gymnastics with that. You've seen these programs. Back then, there was hardly any. So we did that for a while. That probably carried us into the next year. This is where the timeline gets fuzzy. That was also 2016. I graduated on master's.
Did you, wait, sorry, going back. So did you finish the paper?
Yeah, we did. Like the professor, and he wrote a lot. Some of it I wrote. I think he wrote the bulk of it, actually, the paper. The professor did. I was just like the grad assistant, help collect data and fill in some gaps.
I would love to see that paper. Can I just go online and look at it?
Yeah, I'd have to find a link and send it to you.
I'll bug you after the show. So basically, what I'm hearing is through that paper and through that 6 months while you were doing your schooling, it was also applying for a job with Rich that maybe he didn't even know you were applying for. You were building a pretty crazy relationship with him around specifically his training.
I mean, I don't want to make it sound like more than it was. Like, we already, at that point, I mean, we're still workout buddies. Like, at that point, he's probably training with Hobart way more, because Hobart was on the team. So, like,
not even who he's training with. You're the first person who's documenting what he's doing.
Yeah, that is true. Just because we had to do a paper, so we'd be like, hey, man, you got your workouts. It wasn't like elaborate at all. It was just logging, literally copy pasting what he sent me, putting in the doc, and housing those workouts, which I do still have some of them, a lot of them from 2016, which is cool. Some from 15. And just, because I've been doing that would make sense. Like,
it's just like everything tells you your whole life. It's who you know. It's just, it's relationships. You built a relationship with them.
I think it is. Oh, who you know for sure. And then also, like, you got to do a good job once you like have the opportunity.
Right.
You got to come to over deliver. So opportunities from who you know, and then do a great job with over deliver and let it slowly build. So yeah, and then 16, we got some of these conditioning bias tracks. I go to physical therapy school, so I moved from Cookeville to Nashville to go to PT school.
Oh, that sounds like a mistake. Uh-oh.
I know. I was stressing, dude. I was super stressed because I was working like 3 part-time jobs in Cookeville, which I loved all of them. I love Cookeville. I didn't know what to do at all. My wife, she's super supportive, would support me either way. Another layer of the story, her mom actually has pancreatic cancer at the time, and they live in Nashville, just outside. So like I was like a preacher on the weekends, working at Mayhem, just coach some of this online, and then some GA stuff. And so like I leave all this.
What's GA? What's GA?
Grad assistant. Technically, it was research assistant, but people think GA.
And when you say you were a preacher, you stood up in front of people and tried to lead them on the righteous path.
Yeah, I did that for like 6 months. There you go. Good definitions, bud.
Hey, you said this thing in one of those interviews that you I can't remember exact thing, but you said something like you follow Jesus, and I was like, oh, I follow Jesus too. Like I follow Jesus anywhere, but it's just weird. It's different show anyway. I follow Jesus too. Good, he's a good dude. Okay, so that's crazy. So you actually get up and speak in front of people. Do you still do that?
I really like doing that. I get to not preaching per se, just because I don't work in that capacity. Like, I still go to church, but I'm not like the preacher. Every now and then, somewhere I'll get a chance to give like a short word or something like that, or maybe now like it's addressing Mayhem, like not preaching, but like standing in front of people and saying something of value. I do like doing that.
Because you were pretty quiet in the show that I watched, the Bible show, the Mayhem Bible show I watched.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was the that's called Into the Storm podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about podcasts. I'm like, what's he talking about? Yeah, I was probably, it might have been the early episode. I don't know if I talked as much then. Trying to get more comfortable, like interviews, stuff like that, podcasts. But on that one, Rich is probably leading it. Other people give input. If it's something like that, I won't talk unless I think I have really real value to deliver. Like, I'm just not going to talk to my own voice. It's not my personality, I guess. But if it's just me talking, then I'm not going to be prepared and try to have something people need or want to hear to say.
You don't need to be the center of attention.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then you move to, so you get your, you go to school, you get your master's, you're doing the preaching, you got a wife. It's still not enough. You training partners with Rich, still not enough. And you have this, that's really sucks, by the way, about the pancreatic cancer. That's tough. And then you move to Nashville, and the good thing is you have a very supportive wife, which every lucky man gets one of those. I don't know if lucky is the right word, but those of us who have supportive wives, it's nuts. And then
I wouldn't say it wasn't enough. It was enough. I loved my jobs. I loved Cookville. I didn't really want to leave. From my perspective, it was just like I literally would ask God every day, what should I do? And like I was like, I remember a day I was so stressed.
And he's like, go to chiropractic school in Nashville. You're like, oh, I'm sorry I asked.
Can I get a second choice?
Yeah. Let's pretend like I didn't hear you today.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
It was physical therapy school, but either way, yeah. I remember one day I was so stressed about the decision. It's like I'm working the freaking greatest gym on the planet, literally. I like my other two jobs. I could keep working at tech, probably like teaching some. Like a sty came up on my eyelid because like the stress was like so much, I didn't know what to do. So yeah. Then one day, it is what it is. I said, all right, I'm not going to eat all day. I'm going to pray about it, just all day. Like I didn't eat. I never fasted before. And then the end of that day, it was like end of April. We start PT school end of May. And I told them I'm coming, but I could just not come. And the day I knew, I was like, okay, I'm supposed to go to PT school. I just knew. And so then we got the ball rolling and ended up moving. So it wasn't enough. It was like Coco was plenty. I loved it. It was just, what am I supposed to do with my life? Like what I believe, what I would say is like, what does God want me to do for my life? Providence or sovereignty, however you want to say it. So I did that path, and we moved to Nashville, 2016. Kept doing. I could do everything with Mayhem. I can coach in person, but all the remote stuff, like what Rich doing, I can do that online. At this point, the next year, we started offering Mayhem 30, like our body weight. Maybe Mayhem 62, like the 60-minute version. While I'm at PT school, so I would just like be in class, after class go train, and then maybe at night or the weekends I would moonlight and do all the. At that time it wasn't Mayhem Athlete, but what became Mayhem Athlete. Just we rebranded it, that stuff. So we're in Nashville, going to PT school.
Do you have an assistant?
Now?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Our team is way bigger and more robust, and I have a killer team.
Okay, I was gonna say I hope you have one. You need one. Okay.
It's grown. It's just like one little piece at a time over the years. But like, I wouldn't say it's my assistant. Her name's, I'll give a shout out, Kelsey. She's the everyday athlete coordinator. And she does a ton of the things like this that I'm not good at. And she's super organized and like, she's the bomb. Kelsey's awesome.
How often during this story is it like, oh shit, there's just a tidal wave of stuff? Wife, kids, deaths in the family, programming, okay, help, I need help over here. It's just I just see this tidal wave of paperwork and just shit just gone. I mean, it just sounds crazy how much you've taken on at this point.
Well, the tidal wave was more in the last year or two when we've had more of the hires. Like, all right, we're outgrowing this, like this person can't do this much or have too much of this. So there's products and stuff, so let's hire someone to fulfill that. That's happened more in the last 18 to 24 months.
Okay.
Back then, it was so much less like I could do the customer service and just input the workouts. Then the next couple of years, towards the end of PT school, we hired a customer service, Drew, who's just been a Mayhem athlete for years. His name's Drew Cathy, and he runs customer service now and helps some with like programming input, actually a lot with that. So it was just like one slow hire, like someone's plate would be overflowing. We're like, all right, let's hire someone to help them with that, take on some other responsibility and grow. Same idea was with the tracks. Like now, you look at Mayhem 60 now compared to what was in 2017, like the products evolved like 10 times. It's much, much, much better. So it wasn't like all at once. It was just these little tweaks and improvements like each week and month we'd make. Product got so much better to where it is now.
I wonder how stressed Rich is about having. Who is Rich the boss?
Oh yeah, Rich is CEO. No, obviously owner.
I wonder how much stress he has with all having to. I mean, to put it in the most crass terms, put food on this many people's plates. I wonder if he has trouble sleeping at night. Because it is like that, right? I mean, if he has 30 people working for him, those are 30 paychecks that have to go out, and he has to feel some burden from that. He has to.
Yeah. In the last, I guess you had to ask him. I think every now and then you could definitely get stressed out just because there's like, that's a lot of people, a lot of responsibility. But I think
these are like real lives, and underneath those 30 people, there's another 4 people each, right? Meaning like their wives and their moms and their kids. I mean, he's not right. I mean,
I've actually started thinking about that too in the last month. Like, man, there's a lot of people now, and like we got a lot of people to take care of, and which is just part of it, right? Just part of being to run a successful, growing business. But I think it helps Rich and me too. Like Rich has people he can trust to do what needs to be done, and like they're going to do a good job, and then I have people that I trust they're going to do a good job, and so then the product will be good and the business will be fine. But yeah, if you just look at it, it is stressful.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's hard enough being responsible for yourself and your wife and your kids. Let alone so you go to chiropractic school in Nashville.
Physical therapy school. Sorry, I don't care that much. Just people are gonna think I'm a chiropractor.
Wait, what did you say? What kind of school did you call it?
Physical therapy.
Physical therapy. Okay, those are different. Physical therapy.
Yeah, he's not a chiropractor. Yeah.
Okay.
They're very similar. They're similar, but not the exact same. It'd be like, I can't think of a good analogy. Nurse practitioner to physician's assistant.
Hey, but do they have a same? Like, I didn't know this about I thought chiropractors were just the dudes who just like crack your back and shit. And then recently, as I've gotten more knowledge in the last couple of years, chiropractors believe that your body can heal itself. Do you like that's kind of like I think one of their core tenets. Is that what physical therapists also believe?
Depends on the chiropractor and the exact like school of thought, but
your audio is way better without those ear things, by the way.
Yeah,
way better.
I'll turn down your mic a little bit now too.
Just throw those away. You never need those again.
Okay, good. They're cheap knockoff earbuds.
Well, that makes me glad to hear you say that. Maybe I'll send you some brand new ones. I have so many around here. I'm gifted with so much great shit. But you had them pointed at me. Did you? I'd never seen anyone wear their ear pods like that. I was like kept fixated on
not wearing them. They're cheap. Like knock them down. They're like, I didn't know they're knockoff. Someone scanned me, and they'll mess up.
Oh no!
So they should tell me. I was checking them out.
Wait, did you buy them on like a street corner? How'd they scan like online? Like how'd you?
No, a guy pulled up in front of his house and opened his trunk, and Jake buys stolen shit regularly in Cookeville. That's how.
Dude, they look so much similar, but they're
those look good. Yes.
Oh shit.
They have like the thing that says assembled in China and like all the little things. They were so good. They're garbage though. Anyways.
How did you find out that they were phonies?
Because they keep doing the thing. The earphones do where like it will beep. Like when you click it, it's supposed to beep like pause, but like be moving around and like take a step and it'll beep like half the time. So.
Hey, do you know the guy who sold them to you?
Oh, I told him he was a scam artist.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
no,
awesome.
I don't know him, but on Facebook Messenger, yeah, I was mad.
Yeah, that's awesome. Don't be mad at him. Everyone's a con artist. I pretend to run a podcast. Don't be mad at him. But you don't need those anymore. Just I'm serious. The audio was so bad. I was hating you a little bit in the beginning, but I forgave you.
Dang.
Now, yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, Austin, not nice. Not nice at all. Okay. So you go to physical therapy school.
Yep.
Because you fasted and you got good high fidelity on God's voice.
Yeah.
It's a valid practice, by the way. If you want to get better fidelity on the message that you want to know, I think fasting is a great way to do that.
I agree. I tell people that when they're making big decisions.
Okay, so what happens? So you go there, but I'm tripping because like someone's gonna take your job. Like I don't think you should leave Rich's side during while a company's growing and being successful like Mayhem. I just think it's a risky move.
Yeah, I mean Mayhem was not growing as rapidly then. But I was just doing a good job remotely. And I mean, Rich is still focused on like the business as a whole, but also he's very focused on winning the CrossFit Games every year, which is hard to, I mean, that's a huge focus, right? Family, CrossFit Games, partnerships, and then who he has in place. Like Rich is awesome about just trusting us to do our job, letting us like have a ton of freedom in it and go grow it. So he let me do that at PT school. I mean, it's definitely a very part-time job then compared to now. So through that, I can't remember, man. We added, I think towards the end of my PT school, we added Mayhem aerobic capacity for the first time with Henshaw. That was like our first partnership. So 16, 17, 18, PT school is 3 years. That's what I'm doing the math. At the end of PT school, so we've had, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 tracks. We're in Wadify, and then we switched.
Did your mother-in-law pass?
Yeah, she did.
Sorry.
No. Yeah, thank you.
It's tough.
We did like early 2017. It's like 8 or 9 months after we got there. We lived with them for like 6 or 7 months when we were finding a house. So it was kind of like what I would say is like it worked out like God had planned because Nancy got to be with her mom. Those last 4 or 5 months was just like invaluable.
Yeah.
We got to be there through all that, help them. And then it was more confirmation it was the right decision, all those things. So, I mean, it was bad. It was terrible as like you would imagine anyone who's seen people go through cancer and die. Like it was truly awful. But she was a really good woman and it worked out as good as it could, all things considered.
Hey, let me ask you this. This is off subject, but when I've had to put dogs down, and I heard about people who didn't put their dogs down and they just like leave it with the vet and then they leave. And I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that. I'm going to hold the dog in my arms. I'm going to be there. The dog got put down, and I held the dog till its last breath. There's got to be some component with that instead of avoiding family members who are dying or who are unhealthy, instead of creating distance from them to protect yourself from the emotional pain. I'm guessing that there's something therapeutic about getting closer to them so that when they leave, like soon as I walked out of the vet's office, I don't mean to be comparing putting a dog down to a parent dying, but as soon as I left the vet's office, I was better. But if I wouldn't have done that, I would have like driven away crying, but I didn't drive away crying. Like there's got to be something therapeutic for your wife and your family that you got to be there. No, doesn't translate like that. It's like,
yes, some of what you're saying is true. I mean, it was an awful experience. I'm not gonna go into details, and more so from them. Like their family is amazing. More so therapeutic looking back, like, man, I was there with my mom every second I could have been. Like I didn't have any regrets from that. And I know I helped her and it helps me therefore the next decade. Whereas in the moment at the time, it almost makes it worse because you could just avoided it and not seeing all that pain.
Right.
Badness. But in the long term, it's much better. So
long term, right.
Yeah.
Don't run from it. She doesn't regret the choice.
Oh, she's so glad. So glad. Like the anniversary of her passing was like a couple weeks ago. And yeah, it's much better now, obviously, because it's been like 7 or 8 years. But that's one of her best decisions we ever made. And we can look back and be like, oh, it was so good that we were there.
You guys were married through that time?
We what?
You guys were married through that time already? Yeah. Okay.
And don't you think just it speaks volumes of your wife's character? Like there's these people who there's these couples that are together and they want their let's say they want their mate to be mean to their ex-husband, right? Let's say my wife was married before. She wasn't, but let's say she was married before and I would want her to be mean to her ex-husband. That's such wrong thinking in my mind, because the person you're with, you want them to have great character. And you have to realize that if they're mean to their ex-husband, someday they might be mean to you if you guys break up. And so you got to see your wife in this moment of just insane fucking emotional pressure, and you got to see her character, right? She didn't run from it. She went to it. I mean, I mean, fuck, that's the most incredible, what's that called? Like, what's that called when you apply for a job? Interview. Like you saw your wife go through the greatest interview process of a human you'd want to be by.
Oh, I already knew my wife was amazing at that point.
Yeah.
She's a rock star. Great.
Right.
But like their whole, it's unreal. Like, and
like if you can't, go ahead, sorry.
At the end, like they were with her, like literally all the kids and her husband. So it was like terrible, but as good as it could be at the same time because I got to be there. But leading up to that, like the weeks and months of helping like change your mom and get her out of bed and all those things, like that's where you really see people's character too. And like it was every day that she, as much as she could be, she worked for my wife and her family. So yeah, it was like, I didn't have any doubt, but now I'm like, oh, I know if anything happens, like my wife will never leave me or anything bad in our kids. Like, yeah, 0 doubt and 100% confidence.
Everything's an interview process, man. Man, show up. Well, kudos to you. Okay. Pancreatic cancer. Okay. So you go to Nashville and you do your 3 years of PT school.
Yep. And then it's 2019. So like we've rebranded. It's Mayhem Athlete. We moved to Sugar Wad, which is important because the next year we grow a lot more. But
where were you before Sugar Wad?
Wadify.
Okay. Which
we still have affiliate programming on Wadify, but all our individual programming, and we have gym programming on Sugar Wad as well. So I start working.
Why not make your own?
Because it's really expensive and because we don't want to be an app company.
Well, I like every single person I've known who's made an app has been a complete fucking disaster and terrifying, except for one. And I would have to follow up with her to follow out if she still is happy with it. But I think she's very happy with it. It's street parking.
Okay, I'd love to.
And my mom uses that. My mom uses that app. She does their programming, and she goes to a CrossFit gym. And she's like, I mean, if my mom endorses an app, for me, it's like, that's it. That must be the easiest and most user-friendly app ever that ever existed.
Impressive. I need to.
But I know a lot of horror stories, dude. Yeah. A lot of horror stories of people who've put millions of dollars. I had the largest the largest YouTube channel on skateboarding, Aaron Cafaro, and not Aaron. Is it Aaron Cafaro? The guy who runs Braille. And he told a horror story of like I think they're millions of dollars in on building a skateboarding app, and
oh no. And
I know so many people who've abandoned apps. Who is it? We had someone on the other day. I don't know if it's Ryan Fisher, but someone had spent $500,000 in 2 months on an app, and they're nowhere near being done.
I've spent more hours than you want to know investigating building an app.
Yeah.
And Sugar Wad's a really good app overall, but it's far from perfect. And many things we want to do on it won't do. So yeah, street parking I really respect that product too. They do a good job, but that's why we don't build an app, because we want to be a fitness company. If we want to build an app, we almost have to be an app company. Oh, see, Sousa.
And
it's expensive. The risk is so high with the return not guaranteed at all. So hasn't made sense, but we've investigated.
And I think I want to say Matt fucked around with those with that Steffi Cohen chick and her app. And then he did his own app, and I heard all sorts of crazy shit that happened there. I don't. Yeah, it sounds very risky.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's why. Okay. But it is something. You're not naive to it. You put in
a white label app. If you look up Mayhem Athlete in the App Store, you just click, and then it'll open. It's Sugar Wad white labeled, but it does like have the skin of Mayhem Athlete, which is cool.
Okay. Does everyone have that, or is that something special? You guys? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I have kids programming on there. That they called me and they said, "Hey, we have zero." It was kind of cool. They said, "We have zero kids programming. Will you do kids programming for us?" And I made just 50 workouts and sold it as a package like that. And holy shit, it was a lot of work. Holy shit! But you can't go to that app without seeing Mayhem. They obviously love you. Like you have to know exactly what you want to find my programming, and to find Mayhem, you have to like. To not see Mayhem programming on there, you have to like avoid it. So yeah, it sounds like you guys have a great relationship with them.
Yeah, they're doing really good, and they're trying to do the things we want to do on the app. That they're, if you build a house like 50 years ago, renovation's hard, right? Because it's the foundation's there, all that blah blah blah. So I get it takes time on their end because the app's built how it is, and we're trying to do things the app wasn't made to do, and they're trying to work with us and make it happen. So. Good, like Sugar Wad. We went to them 2019. I worked full-time PT summer 2019, got a job just outside of Nashville, still doing Mayhem Athletes, growing on the side through into 2020. And then at this point we have like 7, 8 tracks like Mayhem 30, Mayhem 60. We launched Mayhem Scaled, which is like the scaled movements of a workout for an hour. We got What's Rich Doing, Mayhem Heroic Capacity, competes like the main competitive one. We launched Mayhem Masters at this point. So the Masters community is growing. 2020, I think, shuts down, locks down. And then I think we did a free month to our Mayhem 30 members to be like, hey, we know it's tough right now. We're just going to make it free. Y'all want it for a month. If you're a current member, you get it free for a month. Or if you want to try it out, here you go. We started doing those quarantine workouts live every day. They did. I came down, drove down when I could. I had like Thursdays off to do that. And so it really grew that year, 2020. And then this time to Mayhem, like Rory McKernan got hired. We kind of all got promoted, elevated to directors in our part of the business. So given more responsibility, freedom, and Mayhem Athlete just grew so much because it was such a good opportunity while everyone's at home. It's like, what are you going to do? Let's work out together.
Yeah.
And that's how the lives with Rich they used to do back in the day originated out of that.
Oh, from all the closures
That's right. Because we would do the live workout every day with him. It's just like, what's the workout? Well, Rich was do it in the gym with like a dumbbell or body weight. And
hey, that was a brilliant idea. Just basically put up a parking lot cam and let us look into the gym.
It's kind of one of those things like I don't think at the time had any idea how like much people would love it, and it created our online community, like made it way more robust, did all those things.
It's ghetto, but it worked. It works so well. Sometimes you have to realize that like it's better just to do something than nothing.
Absolutely.
And man, it was fucking brilliant. Whoever
like better than perfect.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah. And so then I've been PT like 10 or 11 months, and we're growing a ton through 2020, 21. We're like 2020, I think we hired Scott, who's head of the media department. And then that summer I quit my PT job to go full-time Mayhem. And then through that, like we've done Mayhem Burger and Strength in that next year. Pamela came on in 2021. So we just started adding like thing here and there. 2020 also started Mayhem our affiliate programming, because Darren moved to Michigan to be close to family, but he still worked for us. So we launched that. I moved back to Cookeville in 2021, the beginning of that year. And then that's the bulk of it. And through that, what else we added? Those are the big pieces. So all the big building blocks are there. It's just we started to refine them and make them a lot better to like what our product is today.
Do you own a home in Cookeville?
Yep.
So when you moved back there from Nashville, it like you realized like, did it feel like you were coming home?
Yeah. Well, I didn't own a home before then. We moved back and bought a house.
Right. But I mean, like when you came, like, were you like, yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be?
Yeah. I mean, even moving back, actually, I was stressed about that move too. Because I had either considered opening my own PT clinic where I was at there, and doing that and still doing Mayhem on the side, or like going all in with Mayhem and just quitting PT and going full time. And I didn't have as much clarity, honestly, on moving back as I did. Now I do like 1,000%, but at the time I didn't. And so when we came back, though, it was like we had a lot of roots that were still here. So like some people moved on, but it did feel like, oh yeah, this is all familiar and this is our old home and it's good to be back. So
has this guy contacted Mayhem and tried to make a Rich card?
What zombie? Does he do those like baseball cards with CrossFitters?
Yeah, like this one of Colton Mertens.
That's cool. Yeah. He did reach out on Instagram. I think he's going to send some samples. I can't remember.
Send samples, Nick. Send samples. I endorse Wad Zombie. Great supporter of the show. For $5, I'll endorse anything. I'm cheap, way cheaper than Rich. If you have 2 kids and you have a third kid and you have a house, and are you practicing any physical therapy there?
Last year it's gotten less and less and less, and now it's almost none because I don't like advertise it. And there's a athletic trainer that treats out of the gym, so all the gym patients go to him, as they should. AJ, he's really good, and yeah, my focus is Mayhem Athlete. So not really. If someone like an athlete tweaks something, they need me to look at it real quick. Now I will, but it's very few and far between. So I'm becoming a worse physical therapist every day, I say.
Has your confidence around your programming skyrocketed?
I wouldn't say skyrocketed, but it's definitely it's just steadily grown through the years with practice, reps, and then as like the evidence is showing that it works. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really remarkable. Do you feel pressure with so many top athletes doing it?
If I guess it's almost like the business thing we were talking about. Like if I'd step back and look at it, I was like, man, this is a ton. Like so many people are looking at this every day and it needs to be great. But then just the day-to-day grind, not really, because I'm not doing it alone by any means. Like we have an awesome team. Like me and Rich look at programming regularly. Darren, we're shooting back and forth as well. So it's not alone, which makes it better and then helps take off the pressure too. But if I just step back and be like the magnitude of how many, and it's our core product in a lot of ways, then yeah, it can be some pressure.
It's like that when with the podcast too. The second I think that people are watching, the pressure starts. But 90% of the time when I'm doing the podcast, I just figure out it's just me and Matt and Jake talking. But as soon as you look at like who else is watching, you're kind of like, you get self-conscious.
It's a good way to put it, yeah. If it's just like it's the workouts we're gonna go next week, let's write them down and like put in notes and warm ups, then it's like, oh, this will be great. But then
and I don't want to let anyone down.
Exactly.
Like you gave your time to do this workout so that you would be better based on the workout I did yesterday and based on the workout I'm going to give you tomorrow. Like you came to this podcast to listen and like, I don't want to let you down. I want you to be like, fuck, I wasted part of my life. There was this workout that have you ever done a workout that have you ever programmed a workout and you're like, I will never program that again? Like maybe like you got so much feedback on it, like too many people hurt themselves or they were sore for too long, or is there like one where you're like, oh yeah, that's can never happen again?
Yeah, every once in a while. More so like we did one the other week that was 21-15-9 toes to the bar power snatch, and the games level was every 5 minutes, which was just too aggressive on my end. It was just a mess. It should have been like every 7 or 8 minutes. That was a minor example, but
wait, I don't understand that 21-15-9 toes to bar snatch. That's just for time, right? As fast as you can.
But we did it 3 times, and it was supposed to be once every 5 minutes.
Oh,
it took like 4 minutes or 3.5. So like you're getting no rest. It should have been more rest. So usually it's not complete miss. Like that was just stupid, like totally off. It was like something like that where, hey, we should have more rest there. Or we should have backed off on these reps. It was too many of this rather than the whole thing's a crapshoot. But yeah, it still happens every once in a while.
There was this workout. I probably shouldn't tell this story, but I'll try to keep it ambiguous. That we did at HQ one time in the gym, and it was the most people I'd ever seen working out there at one time. It was in the morning, and the workout was I believe it was GHD and deadlift, and I forget what the numbers were, but they were high. They're like in the 50s, and the next day half the people didn't show up. Half the people got injured.
That GHD fucks people up.
Fucking fucked people up. Yeah, I didn't do it. I watched.
Was it on main side or was it just a workout you guys did?
I didn't take the injection over the last 3 years. I'm just sitting back and watching. And I didn't do that workout. There's just some things I'm just like, I don't know about that one. It doesn't look. I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna sit back and watch and see what happens to everyone else. Say that again, Susan. What'd you ask?
I asked if it was on main side or if it was just one you guys made up.
No, it was not on main site. It was something someone had made up, and it was just crazy to see half the people not show up the next day. They were just fucked up. They were literally just injured. It's not like they were sore. It's just white people out. Yeah. My wife was so injured. Yeah. Anyway, do you have any stories that good?
I mean, the athletes coming
like half the Mayhem empire's dead.
Yeah. I mean, tons of days the games athletes here come in just super messed up and sore and stuff, but they got to train. But it's not like an injury sore. It's like, man, we did 80 sandbag cleans yesterday. Maybe we should have only done 60 or 70, but just get moving and get through it. Yeah, this wasn't like that. This was they got broken. You said in that podcast that the reason why you like what you're doing so much is because you work with your friends. And for me, that's everything too. Like going to school, work. Like when I got fired from CrossFit, I felt so bad for everyone that was my friend there because I wasn't going to be there anymore. Like I felt like I let them down. You know what I mean? Because I thought the whole thing of going to work was having friends. That's a huge piece for you. Oh, for sure. That's what I've said this recently, like this place is unique to work because people are genuinely friends with each other. Like even outside the gym, a lot of people here will hang out with people they work with, and we come every day. It's like you do see and work with your friends as much as even more than your coworkers. So yeah, like we walk in every morning, the coffee shop, Rich is usually here. Some people are the employees hanging out. Some are just friends having coffee and I don't sit down sometimes. I need to get going at that point, but sometimes I'll sit down, just hang out. Yeah, but genuinely, yeah, every employee here is my friend and someone I'm pretty tight with.
Do you could you do your entire job from home? Like if one of your kids was sick or your wife was sick, could you just stay home?
For the day, yeah. For the week, no.
And because why? Because you have to talk to people face to face?
If I really had to, yeah, I could for a week. But for like beyond that, no. Just I need to see people face to face. It's good to be here, just presence. Then need to see athletes that are here. We got filming we got to do pretty regularly, whether it's workout filming or other YouTube we started, which I'm not like directly involved in like a ton of those, but I'm overseeing them. So you just got to have FaceTime with people.
In that barn at Rich's house, how often do you end up going there?
So right now, Josh Malone, he's the head coach here, and he's actually just became COO. He's helping film. We had started at-home workouts, like call them the 15-minute body weight at-home workouts. We have a rotation of him. Rory helps, myself, and then Kelsey. We coach those every Thursday, so I'm coaching to go there for that. We got to film like our workout explanations every few weeks. So I'm up there every 2 to 3 weeks. There's a studio in the back of the barn now. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
So we got the barn.
No, I didn't know that. No.
And now if you walk through the door by the bathroom, you wouldn't know it's there. There's a whole studio built out where you'll see like the things that we film that are really high quality. Like these at home, the workout explanations, other things. The podcast will be there. Hey,
isn't it a trip? You got me tripping. Isn't it a trip that in 2018 they basically decimated the fucking media department at CrossFit HQ? But here we are in 2023, and you guys are investing a lot in media.
Oh yeah, our media is the bomb. Yeah, Ben Bennett.
You know, CrossFit HQ doesn't have a media department either.
They should hire you guys.
No, they do not. Do not get confused. They have a marketing. They have a ragtag marketing. They don't know what they have.
They have a hired PR firm. Is actually truly what they have. That's not even a shot. That's really what it is.
They don't have a media department. They have one or two guys who they have no. They don't. They just don't.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
What did you say? Bold strategy, Cotton? Is that from a movie?
Yeah, it is a bold strategy.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Why it's so crazy. Because for $6 you can just have someone can just film Rich with their phone, or like that guy Strom or Ben or Scott could just make something really quickly because you have a media department with Rich or anyone that needs to be made last minute, any second, right now, and you guys can constantly be putting out stuff, and you could do it with the most expensive cameras you have there or iPhones. Like you guys are so nimble, right? In anything you could put out, and it's just crazy that the mothership doesn't have that. I wonder what's going to happen. There's got to be this weird tension between CrossFit Mayhem as they grow and the mothership. Like there's things that became bigger than the mothership, RX Bar, Rogue, and there becomes a point. I mean, and now even in the media space, I mean, in the podcast space, we've completely surpassed anything that fucking CrossFit could ever catch. And I would have to stop. I'd have to die. And it's probably happened like that. I mean, when we look at the metrics for YouTube stations, Mayhem's always at the fucking top, just crushing it. Yeah, it's a very trippy thing. It's going to be fun to watch how you guys navigate that. It's weird because as you become bigger than the mothership too, we go back to what we started this conversation about. You guys still are contributing. You haven't gone the path that so many other people have gone where they're just taking. I don't want to say just taking, but they're out of balance. You guys give as much to CrossFit as you take. There are some big players in the space who are taking way more than they're giving. They're leveraging. They're leveraging CrossFit, and they're more like parasites than givers, I think. Yeah, it's a trip. This has been very stimulating talking to you. Okay, sorry. So I'm done talking for at least a few seconds. Go back to what you were saying. There's a studio attached to the barn.
Yep, the back of the barn. That was built last year, so we could film these high-end classes, demos, movement, whatever we want. We can film it there, and that's what we do. So I'm only there sometimes weekly, but a lot of times 3 or 4 times a month. Just depending on what we're filming, what we need. Next month, I'll be there a ton with the open, right? Because we'll film our tips and tricks there, workout walkthroughs, demos, at-home classes too, if I do some of those and all that.
Will that be massive for you guys, the demos for the open?
The tips and tricks videos, yeah, it's huge for us because, again, the media team's so good. We'll get it announced Thursday at 2. We'll be up there. We'll immediately, like Rich, myself, probably Josh, a couple others, be like, hey, how we want to attack this workout, how we want to explain each like division and standard, and then tell them to do it. So we'll do that. And then like Pamela, she'll be getting her video ready in her garage. Sage, if there's lifting, I think Kelly Starrett will do the mobility. And then right after that, we'll like have all 4 versions of the workout. If you look on YouTube from last year, like the RX, the scale, the body weight. I think there's one more, and it's pretty cool. And 4 screens going on at once. They're all doing the workout as we're commentating it. So I do tips and tricks, do the workout, commentate, everyone doing the workout, and then put out those videos through the weekend.
Savage.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And why? And so basically, you do that for the God. It is so the same model of the early days of CrossFit. You do that for all the people. That's subsidized by all the people who are paying for the programming, but the whole world gets it for free. So CrossFit's like that. Everything was subsidized by the affiliates and people paying their affiliate memberships, but then CrossFit would make the media and give it away for free. They weren't afraid. It didn't matter. And in the end, it builds brand value for Mayhem, but also for all those athletes who do it and the affiliates who do the programming. It's like you start to become, it's like, it's information and marketing at the same time. Oh, I like going to CrossFit so-and-so. Why is that? Because they do Mayhem affiliate programming. Like, that's where I go do my Mayhem affiliate programming. Oh, there's 5 guys there that are training to go to the games, and they all do whatever the athlete channel is. So you could go there. Some other people might be like, well, you're giving it away free. You're fucking stupid. No, it's not at all. Anyone can see that, right? I'm right. Like all these videos you just said you make, the tips and tricks and all that, anyone can go see it.
For the open, oh yeah.
I could be doing WPHO and still go and steal the tricks from Mayhem.
Yeah. I guess that's a great way to advertise, one, but 2, like we do want to just build a ton of goodwill, like generally just deliver value, like we keep saying. And like if you keep doing that, eventually people are like, well, I want to check this out. And if you get them in the door and your product really is that good, then they're going to stick with you and like be part of what you offer because they saw it from there and it's genuine, authentic when they get in the door, and they like what they're doing every day. They like the people they're doing it with business in general, but Mayhem athlete specific, then yeah, they'll stick with us. And that's what we've tried to build out and find.
Jake Lockert equals one of the geniuses behind the scenes of the successful Mayhem empire. That is CrossFit Mayhem. Pete Shaw, Sevon, hanging around with Greg so much, I'm sure you are familiar with the lease rents model. A healthy CrossFit ecosystem absolutely has gyms companies as big and in some cases bigger than CFLLC. I'm at the 90-yard line with you. I think that I don't think that CrossFit should have ever let someone let their storytelling ability get bigger than their storytelling ability.
Yeah.
I think I think you should always control your narrative. I think you should always, or at least have the ability to control your narrative. You should have the ability. Meaning, I agree with a lot of what he's saying. I fully appreciate the lease rents model, but in this world of media, I mean, from just here listening to Jake, every single person is somehow involved with media. He says they're a fitness company, but they're also a media company. I would say at one point CrossFit knew we were a media company. That was the thing. Hey, we're a media company. And And the fact that Rich doesn't, that's the other thing too that Jake said. He said that Rich doesn't micromanage. And so at some point you get so big, you have to let everyone on your team express what they think that you're giving to the world and put their own little touch on it. One, it keeps them energized, gives them ownership. But it also, you start to realize that like not everyone is going to speak through the lens of Greg Glassman or Rich Froning. Like you have to let some people who are very successful speak through the lens of Marsden and Heber. Might not be my cup of tea or your cup of tea, but it's a huge swath of people's cup of tea. Same with this podcast. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's expressing the same thing in a different way. Oh, Jake, I didn't even know you were here. Hi.
I mean, yeah, that's what we do that, Mayhem. I don't micromanage either, but if it's a Mayhem athlete specific, like we're building a program, like, hey, this is the program. This is the general direction this program is going to go, but I'll let someone program within that. Like Kelsey programs Mayhem 30 body weight, and I gave her direction. We brought her on board, and what's the idea we're going with. But like, I'll review her work, but I'm not going to do it for her or nitpick little things here and there. It's creative feedback. But then, I mean, I think the same thing.
You can't watch all the content you put out. It would be impossible, right?
I do watch most all the YouTube videos, but like Scott, he's running media, he's killing it. And then when those dudes make the videos, Scott's going to give them feedback, but like he's going to let them roll, do what they do best, and like as you say, like empower them to do it. Yeah, I can't stand micromanaging or being micromanaged. Thankfully, there's not been much of that all here.
And especially if you have a strong vision, like Greg had a crazy strong vision. So when someone has a crazy strong vision, you don't need to micromanage. And it sounds like the whole values thing, when it comes back to that too, when you have everyone who has the same values, that's a pretty great starting point for the vision.
It helps it naturally be the same vision for sure. I'm working on a vision statement to get something official and like crisp and clean, but something along the lines of like to help everyone be their best self through participating in some fitness each day to be better. That's not exactly what it would be, but if that's our vision to help people achieve that, and our core values, our faith, family, fitness, service is some of the pathways we get there, then naturally the media going out, it's going to be a ton of fitness and people doing that from high level games competitors, which is a ton of, because that's where we've started and that's what Rich is, and he's killing it there. But also we'll feature other things too naturally. And like even this, I'm sure Scott's going to put out a really cool video from the Cam Hanes thing, which is going to be a lot about fitness, but all the other things too included. And yeah, no one's micromanaging Scott for sure.
Yeah, you'll fuck a creative person up micromanaging them.
No, we're not hanging out with that. And no one knows how we're going to micromanage them. Like I have no idea to make a video, and I think Roy's been super good too in the past about giving, I'm sure, feedback and direction to them as well. And like they'll have ideas and they'll ask, and we'll come up with ideas like the open. What should we do this open? We've talked about that, and so like we've gotten there, and Scott, Ben, and Bennett are driving that. But as a team, we can decide that, and then they'll just go and do.
Do you have strong opinions about programming at the events? Like when you see the games programming, like when you drive home from Madison to Cookeville, are you like, the fucking idiot Dave Castro? What the fuck? Can you fucking believe it? What a disaster. Cargo net, jackass. Like, do you have strong opinions about all that?
Yeah, I would say, yep, pretty strong.
Yeah. I'd like to have you back on in mid-August, please.
Here we go. Across the games, that's what I told Facundo, because me and him are there. I work tight with Facundo too. He's a man. But like the first day across the games was like Christmas morning, because we were so excited for the start and hear the workouts. But for sure at the end, like we're gonna look back and be like, that was dumb. That was a really great workout. Look at it as a whole. You can't judge it day 1, 2, 3, even 4. You gotta look at it all. Same thing with the semifinals, especially last year with everyone being a little bit of wild, wild west. So I mean, it's like you, I'm sure you watch a podcast or a video and like you're all of a sudden.
Oh, they all suck. They all suck. They're so shitty. They're so shitty. I watched some that actually Bible podcast you on. That guy's pretty good.
He's a Mayhem athlete. Oh, I blanked on his name.
Yeah, that was actually pretty informative. I wasn't like killing myself. Normally I watch podcasts at 1.25 or 1.5, and that one I watched at regular speed because that guy was actually that's a huge compliment to that guy.
Oh, that's great. I'm a 2-speed guy a lot of times too. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So
how do you
pardon me?
How many do you have a guest, like 2 or 3 guests every day?
I try to do a podcast every single day.
Just one or sometimes multiple?
If I get my way, just one. Just one. Not two.
I try to keep it to just one. There's just shit that happens. Like, there's just shit that happens, right?
Oh, that makes sense. Because if you were doing 2 or 3, which I thought I was like, how is he watching a podcast on everyone doing his podcast and then interviewing them all? I was like, just thinking about math in my head. And like, he's spending a ton of time watching podcasts and then obviously doing them.
So yesterday morning, I watched half of that podcast you were on, and I worked out in the gym. And then last night at 9:00, I watched the second half of it, and I worked out again. So I usually will work out. I'll usually try to do I'll try to sweat twice a day. In the not necessarily in the morning, but at least probably in the afternoon, and then at night before I go to bed when the whole house is asleep. So usually between 9 and 11, I'm in the garage doing something. And that's when I'm preparing, right? And I keep my phone next, and the workout's so casual. I keep my phone next to me, so I'm writing stuff down about Jake, you know. So
makes sense. Have you done Mayhem Athlete before, Savon or Matt?
No,
I have not.
Okay.
I'm terrified of doing anyone's programming of anything. I don't want anyone telling me what to do. Scared to death. I'm scared.
He'll do all those salt pipe workouts.
I probably should do it.
If you want to get hooked up.
Which one would I do? Which one would I do if I did one?
Never worked out with you, but I bet you would either do Mayhem 60 or Mayhem Scaled.
Okay. I like the thought of Mayhem Scaled.
It's it's scaled friendly. It's made for the beginner, like you know how to do the movements, but either really light or like gymnastics, very scaled down too. There's no muscle ups or anything like that.
Yeah, I could do everything. It just needs to be crazy light. I have no threshold
for sure.
Threshold for getting injured. 0.
Okay, you're a Mayhem Scaled guy, and then
I'm a one muscle up a minute for 30 minutes.
Mayhem Scaled.
Strict, no kipping. Kipping's for dipshits. I'm like that.
Yeah, strict. You're strong. You can dabble in all the other tracks too, like bodybuilding or
bodybuilding. That sounds good. Well. God, I remember when I thought that it was going to be possible to get a body like Rich's. That's just a dream that just kind of withered.
Ignorance is bliss.
It withered. Okay, so Susan, make a note that we need to have Jake back on after at least after the games, maybe after semifinals. We need to bring him on with JR. We have this guy. I don't know if you're familiar with this podcast, but we have this guy JR come on, and he I don't know what the fuck if he's on drugs or what, but he predicts workouts and gets them right for the games and shit.
Ayahuasca trips.
He knew the pirouette was coming. He predicted like 8 of the things Adrian
a bunch of them.
Yeah, the crossover. It was bizarre.
That's nuts. I thought they do single leg pistols, like multiple reps on one side than the other. That's probably about it. But that's impressive. I want to hear what that dude says. Help us with programming, lead for the games.
Yeah, he scours. So it would be great to have you on with him and Taylor. They're just so geeky about programming. And if you can ask the powers that be, if you're able to come on, it would be fun to talk about semifinals programming and games programming with you.
For sure. Be happy to.
And you guys don't rush to getting your podcast room set up. Just chill. Rich has a place he can come on whenever he wants until you guys get that shit set up.
Yeah. Well, you'll be our in between.
Hey, dude, we pulled this clip. So he was on the podcast, and we pulled a clip of him being from the podcast. And we never do that because we don't have the manpower to do it. And we post there's a podcast, and then within the podcast, we took a 10-minute clip and we put it on our YouTube.
I think I may have seen this one. What was it labeled?
It was like a retiring one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That thing made $600.
Business.
A fucking clip. Nice. That's why the next podcast when the Rich was on, I'd call him the last needle mover. A 10-minute fucking clip of something we already put in the podcast. I mean, the podcast probably made like $400, but then just another clip with him made $600. I was like, this is crazy. Absolutely nuts. He's something else.
I got a question before you roll. We got to end whenever. From your perspective, so you dubbed it the Mayhem Empire. I like that.
I did do that. Good. I was hoping I got credit. I did that that was just strictly to be an asshole to Rich. And then it's when he embraced it and I heard him use it once on my podcast. I was like, this son of a bitch. He leaned into it and took it. And I was like, Well, so it is. Same with when I made fun of Dave. I called him the Dave Castro to fuck with them, and he took it. I was like, damn it. I hate it when people do that.
From your outside perspective, I guess a little bit insider now, from the Mayhem Empire, what do you think we should do that we're not doing, or where do you see us going? Something like that. I'm just curious of your perspective.
I have no he is I would have never eaten Chick-fil-A like I saw in one of his videos a couple days ago. I would have never fucking put my Bible beater shit up front. I would have never adopted kids. I would have never, I mean, in all fuck ups on my part. I have no advice for you guys. I'm a student when it comes to the Mayhem Empire. I'm just completely I just love it's a miracle watching it go. Even anyone with a brain knows that those are the people you want to be around. Those are the values. Like, it's a total mistake to be like, hey, those people are crazy. They believe in God and Jesus, and the guy transcends, like, comes from the grave, and the smart person is like, holy cow. These are these people's values, and this is their mission statement. And these are the things that you would want your kids to be raised around and your wife to be raised around, and they're honest and they're genuine. And maybe it takes someone like me 10 years to realize it, but it comes, right? Everyone eventually will be brought to the path of where Mayhem is, those values and those people. And I wish I did have some advice for you. I don't. Keep doing what you're doing and keep showing the rest of us up. That's it. You know? It's nuts.
I don't have any advice, but one thing selfishly I would like to see, which you had mentioned, I didn't think about it till right now. You said you had the What is Rich is like 2016, like a lot of those workouts and stuff. It'd be really cool to get those like in a copy bound book and just do it by the year with like what did Rich do or something. I don't know. You could put a cooler name to it, but that's just me, because I would like to get it in a book form and then be able to look through all the workouts like physically rather than just like digitally on a computer. And it would be cool because it'd be nostalgic if you could reach really far back to like the early days, you know, and you could see those workouts and then kind of compare it to how it's evolved into now. But that's not really advice. That's just a cool new product that I would like to see.
That's a cool idea. We've had that. Someone's brought that up, and we may ebook that eventually. What did Rich do in 2016, 17? I like that.
Yeah.
And Savon, we will keep doing what we're doing.
Hey, okay, here's some, if we're gonna say things like, see, I'd like to see some maybe crazier clothing. like it would be cool, like
like all the colors. What do you want?
No, like stuff like what if you, like, you know how they have those shirts and it's like you put it on and it's like someone like it shows you have a six pack.
Yeah.
Or it's like a shirt you have on and it's like the shirt's torn. You can see like some bottom boob. Obviously, you guys don't do the bottom boob one, but you put it on with the shirt and it's Rich's body.
Oh,
you know,
that shirt.
yeah. Or maybe some stuff that's a little more gangster, like that's like actually like one of those shirts that's just everything is covered and it's like Rich like winning like the games, but it's just all colored and fancy, like some shit, maybe some limited, like crazy limited edition shit. Like, I don't want any like Lil Wayne. I like Lil Wayne, but I don't want any Lil Wayne shoes. But I would do some like limited, like crazy Rich Froning shirts, like shit that's just like so far off the charts, like more leaving like this Mayhem logo and more like what like World Star, like more like Thug Life type graphics. And I don't know. Okay, you asked.
I did.
I can't sell a CEO shirt for the life of me, so don't even, look at my shirt. No, we're doing good. They're selling good. Thank you for coming on, Jake.
Absolutely, you're welcome. Thank you for asking me.
Yeah, and I can text you when I want to.
Anytime.
All right, I appreciate it, brother.
Awesome.
Same to you, Matt.
Yeah, congratulations on the new kid coming. I'm excited for you. 3's awesome.
You got 3?
I got 3.
Okay. So I hear it's a good number.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever. Yeah, you'll probably do 4. I bet you 4 is better than 3. I mean it.
I'll let you know.
All right. Later,
Jake.
Brother. Thanks. It was fun making friends with you.
Absolutely. Talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Adios. He was about to tell me, I think he's going to give me something free, and you cut him off.
You text them. What were you gonna give me something free?
Were you gonna invite me out to the barn? I thought that's what I heard.
I wanted to ask him if they've ever seen anyone like in the gym just be like just mid workout or something, just fucking like start talking in tongues or be like, I found Jesus. Like if there's someone like in the presence of all of them that just had a awakening, had the Holy Spirit just pass through you right at the barn. You know that shit's happened.
Hey, it'd be cool if we went there.
Sevan, when are you going to the Mayhem?
Oh shit.
I'm so excessive. My only thought of going there is like to move there.
Oh, you'd have to check it out first for a small trip and then come back. So we could just call it that if that makes you feel better.
I'm so excessive. There's no like, I'll just like see. Hey, the grass is always greener. I'm so happy where I'm at.
I don't have my mouse pad yet, Ken. Hey, you know what's but that's on me because 2 times I put them aside to send everybody, and 2 times I forgot them at your house. I know where they are. They're where I moved them. I know where they are.
Where you put them? I was like, oh, I just actually saw them yesterday. I'm like, oh, they're stacked so nicely here by the door.
I know. I stacked them up to bring them when I came over to get all the stuff for Wadapalooza, and I was gonna give them to everybody at Wadapalooza, and I left them again. So it's 100% on me for those that don't have them yet. But I will make sure you get them.
I want to show you something.
Hey, do you know that What Is Rich thing came from Jason Khalipa?
No. Oh,
like,
yeah.
Because full on the logo, because he had it written on his wall, and then they like took it, and then that became part of it. I'm surprised you didn't ask him if there's any athlete that complains the most. Whoa.
That I didn't ask him that?
Yeah, like you were like, hey, is there just an athlete that you just don't want to, like every time you put out the programming for the week, you're just like, fuck, I don't want to deal with so-and-so right now because they're just going to complain about all the workouts just because that's
next
what they
time.
Do.
I'm dying. I would love to get that guy and JR on a show together. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah. That's when people could definitely watch in 2 times speed and you cut out all the small like pauses. There'd be a lot of pauses with those guys.
So I moved my desk.
You did?
Yeah, you can see how I moved it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
I like the red chairs.
That's not where the camera is going to be. I just wanted to show you this today. So I got that table set up, and I don't know if you can tell. There's a mounted mic like this over there.
Yeah, I could see it in the other angle you had.
You can barely kind of see it, right?
Yeah. Now that you switch the camera angle, I can't. But there it is. There it is. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah,
I can see it. I saw it last time too.
Oh yeah, okay. And then I got that's a fucking sick. That's a fully loaded M2 chip laptop. 96 gigs just sitting there. So I think Dave will sit in one of those chairs and Khalip in one of the other chairs. And then over here, I think I'm going to put the couch even.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I'll have to move one of these monitors that's over here.
Yeah. Is each guest going to have its individual camera? Or are you just going to do a wide, like, so from the angle
I don't know how I'm going to do that.
Well, what if you had one on a tripod that pointed, like they almost crossed angles like that? So then you could get one kind of behind you that goes to chair left, and then one in front of your light that goes to chair right.
Is my breakfast date calling? Yes. All of that. And I would like to use all high-end cameras like this camera.
Yeah. So it gets a little field of depth and it looks real tight.
I like that.
What is that wrong? Did I say it wrong?
Depth of field, but it's okay. I'm not. It's good. I like field depth. I know what you mean.
That's my dyslexia kicking in. I switch things around all the time.
Can you hear this?
Yes.
Yeah, it's dark. Of course it's dark. Listen, you guys, it's just I just put that camera up for 2 seconds to show Susan today and show you guys. I hate it every time I say anything or show something and everyone just runs with it off in one direction. You have to know that I don't think I've ever been mad on the show except for once. Anytime someone makes a comment that says like Sevan got mad. You've never seen me mad.
It's for me.
Never, ever seen me mad.
For me, it's always like the absolute comments. Like they're like in there. They're like, I know. I put it in there. I know what I'm like. Pump the brakes.
I guess I hate. Why would anyone like me, like my pet peeve, the thing that hurts me the most is being misunderstood. Why would I ever go on a podcast? Because that's all that happens. I'm just putting myself in I guess it's a lesson I need to learn. I put myself in a situation to be misunderstood. No, what I am is I'm dramatic. I'm a showman. I'm excited to like perform for you guys. I'm excited to try to be funny. I'm trying to be I'm not.
There's a nuance to it. Most people won't really understand.
I mean, I see you. If I see something, I'm like, oh, I can do a shtick off that. That's what I'm trying to do. Dance, monkey, dance. Yes, thank you. I'm a monkey. Yes. That thing the other day, I will say that thing the other day though, I did with Brooks. Someone said Sevon went dark. I will say that that show in particular, I felt at one point I felt myself like starting to vibrate a little bit. I was like, "Ooh, I'm really getting into this." I want a Loveline show with Dave and Khalipa. Dave, Dumper, Khalipa. I think if you two just push harder, you can make it work. Sevi, did you see the LED truck Project Veritas? No, but I'll go look at it now. Do you want to look at it? I have 2 minutes. Can we do that, Souza?
Yeah. What is it? Just on their Instagram?
Yeah, I'm guessing. I can't wait to try their Snickers protein bar. I can't wait. Why are all the names different colors? And I don't see that. Corbano, are you a Mayhem athlete? Do you live in Cookeville? For some reason, I just got that impression from something you wrote. It's so amazing what Project Veritas do. Oh, you know what my mom told me the other day? She told me that a story I told on here wasn't true.
Which one do you remember?
She said that she never said that she takes pride wearing her CrossFit shirt in her book club. But I want to push back on and be like, no, I think you did.
Which one are we looking at?
Maybe it's on James O'Keefe's. Click that. Go ahead and click that one on the left. Oh, there it is. It's the first one. No. Go back. Sorry. There it was. That's a truck. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Oh, wow.
Holy shit. This is incredible. Oh, my goodness. Will you hit play on that? The audio?
Yeah.
This is incredible.
No audio, just the truck running.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Sevon, did you see the COVID commercial with celebs talking about how pre-existing conditions affect COVID outcomes? Brought to you by Pfizer. Fucking slime. Yeah, they're all slime. Hey, dude, will you go to Pink's? Do you know that artist Pink?
Mm-hmm.
Will you go to her Instagram? Dude, it is unbelievable the level of douchebaggery that is out there. And this goes back to that, like, I mean, when we saw Neil Young get upset at Joe Rogan, scroll down. This lady, I don't know how anyone ever liked this lady in the first place, but click in the middle there where she's wearing right in the middle. Look at this. Paid partnership with Pfizer. Some behind the scenes action on what I've been up to lately with Pfizer Inc. I've had asthma my entire life. If anyone who has asthma, you should look into the origins of why you got that asthma and why some of us don't have asthma and why you have asthma. And you should look at what some of the leading correlates are. And you will see the irony of why she's talking about having asthma and the importance of Pfizer. You cannot make this shit up. Did you know that having asthma puts me at high risk for severe COVID? No, actually, I didn't know that. I actually had no idea. I think you're making that up.
Know your risk, but not your actual risk, because if you actually knew what your risk was, none of this would matter.
Right. How about stop eating like shit? Unfortunately, I was unaware of this the first time I got COVID. You weren't able to think for yourself and be like, hey, I have asthma and maybe a respiratory disease might be bad for me. You had to wait to be sponsored by Pfizer to figure that out. It's so super important to me that everyone knows the risk factors may put them at high risk too. This is why I want to help people know, plan, go when it comes to COVID-19. Hey, how could you say any of this without saying what the important factors are without leading with nutrition and movement?
Because that's not a Pfizer product.
Wow, everything and it's just paid for by Pfizer. It's all a lie. You have to assume it's all a lie.
Yeah, 100%.
It's all a lie. Which bed should I buy? The one that Brooke slept in last year or the one she's sleeping in this year? I don't know.
Yeah, and look at, she's like, this is my behind the scenes. It's just 2 photos of you. And then whatever the
and
fuck
a stupid ass
is.
video.
Yeah.
These are bad people, man. At this point, you're a bad person. It's a Pfizer fucking commercial. She's getting paid to push drugs that don't fucking work.
And then right at the end, you'll see one of the soccer players collapse.
Yeah, why doesn't she just be honest? I guess you could say, well, she is being honest. Hey, I'm telling you here that I'm taking money to take it to lie to you. But unfortunately, people won't see that.
Well, the weirdest part is that it's just a paid ad and she's just a paid spokesperson, but it still holds a lot of influence, which is
To
crazy.
be fair, if you have asthma, it's probably a good idea to mitigate your COVID risk as much as possible. True. Every asthmatic I know who got it was fucked by COVID for months. Not me. I'm sure I do wheezing and I have some sort of asthma and I was never fucking fazed by COVID. And 80% of the people out there are supposedly asymptomatic if you believe their bullshit. But here's the thing, Trish. How do people get asthma? What are the origins of asthma? Look that up. Why all of a sudden in the last 50 years is there so much asthma and there wasn't before when the air is the cleanest it's been in the last 50 years? We're way past the Industrial Revolution. 100 years ago, the air was horrible. Ask yourself, and then start reading some books, and you'll find out the origins of ear infections, nose infections, all that shit, asthma in kids, and why they have it now, and numbers never seen before, and the correlate is extremely high with you know what. Honest question: if Pfizer offers you 10 mil to make an Instagram post, do you do it? I'm honestly conflicted. Yeah, I totally fair question, Jacob. Totally fair. How much money would it take me to shut my mouth? That's what it comes down to. How much money would it take me? So CrossFit signed a deal that was worth hundreds of millions of dollars with Reebok, mostly an ad spend. Mostly. No one got rich off of it. And within the first month of signing the deal, they put up they made a post saying that they had a shoe that would strengthen your butt, and Greg called bullshit on it from the CrossFit account on Twitter, and people got really upset. And Greg goes, I didn't accept your money so that I wouldn't tell the truth anymore. And they're like, well, you're disparaging us. He goes, I'm not disparaging you. I'm telling the truth. You're lying. There's no shoe out there that makes your butt firmer. And it became this whole fucking conflict between us and them. So, and that's another thing that people don't understand. Greg has no issue with Coca-Cola selling sugar drinks. He's a free market, libertarian capitalist. What he has a problem is Coca-Cola lying to the masses and paying for science and interfering in the science field. And that's exactly the same thing. I love the fact that I hope Brooke gets filthy fucking rich off of Snicker Bar. I really like her. Every encounter I've had with her, I fucking love Brooke Wells. She's cool as shit. She's been nothing but a sweetheart to me on all the times I did the behind the scenes. The part I have the trouble with is that there's a huge conflict with saying you're out when something supposedly you think Greg Glassman said or did, but now you sell poison to kids. That's the fucking problem. So it's like,
I don't like Brooke Wells.
And all the people here's a bold statement. All the people who don't come on this podcast and obviously self-serving are all the people who are trying to thread the needle. They're the ones who are trying. You're afraid of authenticity, and you're afraid I'm going to say something to you that's going to fuck you up on accident. Not be mean, but I'm going to ask you a question that's going to expose you to your hypocrisy and to who you really are. And that's why you don't want to come on the podcast. I get it. I'm not even mad at you for it.
Yeah, but at the same time, you wouldn't even really do that.
Of course I wouldn't fucking do that. Of course I wouldn't do that.
We've never played gotcha with the guests.
No.
We've never tried to corner them. We've never had anybody on with the intention of making them look bad. And we don't even touch those subjects when they're on here and we're getting to know them.
I will fucking if you're on this show and I find a dildo in your purse, I'll claim ownership for it, even if I didn't put it in my ass. I will always take it in the ass for my guest. Always, yes, of course.
I'd be willing to bet that majority of the people that don't come on are advised not to come on, and it's not even their actual opinion or thought. Like they were like, oh, I'd probably go on that, and then by the time they got advised by the time not to, they're like, yeah, you're right, I need to stay away from that.
And that's exactly what happened with Brooke Wells. That I'm out thing. She didn't
that happened with all of them, dude.
She didn't come up with that on her own. I don't think. I'd be willing to bet $20.
It was pressure. And actually the most badass thing I've ever heard Frazier say is like, oh, weren't you one of those athletes that said you weren't going to compete? It was that shot when he was on the bus from one of the videos that was put out. And he was like, weren't you staging some protest? And he goes, you guys didn't even protest. If you really wanted to do it, you just would have all banded together, not said a word. Then when 3, 2, 1, go hit, nobody goes.
Right.
And that would have actually caused a major fucking issue. But that's the problem. It's all virtue signaling. None of it's real. Like none of them really are that compelled to do anything about it, especially if it's going to affect their image or paycheck. They're not putting their values and their stuff first, because you would even respect them a little bit more if they actually did that. Right. But instead, they're not even saying like, this is going against my values and I'm going to hold the line here. They're basically just going with whatever the popular opinion is, so they don't feel like the one that's left out, and they'll change it on a dime. So that's why it's also hard to have respect for it, because you're like, hey, you're not even putting your values first. You're just following whatever's going to feel like it keeps you on the inside.
Right. Mr. Clydesdale Media, Scott Schweitzer. I understand your point, but many minds have. I'm going to switch it to and. I understand your point, and many minds have been changed since the initial Greg moment. I agree perfectly with that. My thoughts are vastly different today than they were back then. Mine too. Very well said. I was not educated enough then. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so it's making a snap decision. And one quick point on that is one thing that it really taught me is to never make a snap decision if you don't have to.
Trish, Greg just made a poorly constructed joke. No, actually, Greg made a brilliant comment. Actually, there was nothing. Yeah, thank you. It was an amazing joke. The part that was weird is that it fell on so many affiliates, but
yeah,
it was fucking brilliant. Here's the thing, Scott. Yeah, everything you're saying is fair, and
good observation, RB.
Matt acts like tough guy Rich is one. No one owed. He sure as fuck. Greg doesn't need anyone's apology. It's the thing that it's like that thing Tim Robbins did recently. He came out. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Tim Robbins. He was a famous actor when I was younger. I don't know if he's still a famous actor, but he recently came out on and said, "Holy shit, I was in Los Angeles and I believed the vaccine hype for a year, and then somehow I woke up."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like, and he came out publicly and said that. And it's like, and we had an affiliate owner on here apologize, apologize to Greg for the way he responded. And it's just like, how about one of those athletes apologize? And I get it. They don't want to do it because they don't want to lose sales.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to lose clout. They don't want to lose sales. But that's what's so impressive about what they're doing at Mayhem. I'm telling you, I told Rich, hey, you should downplay the Jesus shit. It's fucking going to alienate you. And then afterwards, after you become a rich CrossFit athlete, you can run with the Jesus thing. And he didn't say anything. Yeah, he did the opposite.
Worked out great.
Now he's laughing. I'm buying red chairs off of Amazon for my podcast, and he's having dudes build a podcast studio for him.
He just shows up and makes sure it's done on time. Hey, you know what else too? Back to the Greg tweet. The mistake wasn't necessarily the tweet. The mistake happened in 2018 when he killed his own narrative.
Well, yeah.
Because if you guys would have still had all of that narrative and you guys were pushing this messaging and everything else, it still would have caused an issue. But I don't think it would have been the issue that it was. When you had 2 years of a lot of this internal conflict happening, major changes in the space abruptly, almost overnight to a lot of us, especially the athletes that got pushed around through that season, whose careers and livelihoods depend on it. It was all of that shit that built up, and then people saw their opportunity because he tweeted it, which was the worst platform to put something like that on because the Twitter mob just attacks. and then everybody else just were opportunists and took that opportunity for their own self-gain. And so really, if we want to go into it, the mistake happened 2 years ago when he cut off the media and he cut off his own narrative, not necessarily the tweet.
Do you know? Right. We were left defenseless.
Yes.
Completely defenseless.
Yeah.
An amazing media team, completely defenseless. What about the Andy Stump claims? So here's the thing, Trish, with that.
Ambiguous.
Yeah. When Sporty Beth made that video calling me the most toxic man in CrossFit, that shit was fucking cool. You know why? Because that fucking girl like put it out there. She didn't. There were no ambiguous claims. She showed the clips that were supposedly made me look bad. Like me talking to Stacy Tovar about a menstrual cycle and about what drugs she was taking to mitigate the chance of getting pregnant. And she showed those things. And so you yourself, even though she had some slant to it and took some things out of context, you could judge me. You could be like, well, that bitch is out of her mind. Actually, someone did do something great. Or yeah, who the fuck is this guy to talk to women about their forms of contraception? That was awesome. That took balls on that chick's part. Andy and the rest of these guys, they're woke-a-razzi. He's so fucking woke. It's just make ambiguous claims that don't say anything. Sevan was, and no one ever said this, by the way. I'm just saying this, making this up as a hypothetical. Sevan's been horrible to women. I cannot believe the way he treated them. It was like that whole New York Times article. It was just all ambiguous stuff. Well, what did I do that treated women bad? What, like, it's like Brooke Wells' post. It's every person who made an I'm out post, even some of my dear friends, if you go back and read them, they don't say anything. They just say what Greg Glassman did. And the unconscious woke crowd fills that in, what they think he did. I'm sorry, what did he do? Tell me.
Dude, that post was like, and I'm going to screw this up, so you're going to have to completely help me out here. Wasn't there some sort of thing, like in order to avoid the plague, you had to put like the sheep's blood above your door or something like that?
Yes.
That's all that post was, dude. That's all that post was. It was, they just went along and put it in front of their door and just, it was a shield. They just put it up and said, hey, please don't stop here. Just go to the next guy, Twitter mob.
Big word salads, but won't put the fact. Yeah, nothing. Won't even point to anything. I cannot believe the way Sousa treated me yesterday. It reminds me of things that happened to me when I was a kid. Does he have no heart? Doesn't Sousa realize the things that could hurt other human beings? I mean, he has some nerve coming on my show and behaving like that. And this isn't the first time Sousa's done that. And then it goes on and on and on. And within 5 minutes, you're like making shit up in your own head as the listener that you think Sousa did, and you hate him.
And then you cap it.
And yeah, exactly. This fucking dipshit. This fucking duplicitous fucking pile of shit. Yeah, don't get me started on her. Go ahead. Sorry, Sousa. For those of you listening to the podcast, I don't want to say her name. I apologize for not getting you in the know. Okay, I have to go. I'm going to breakfast.
Okay.
I'm going to breakfast with the Liver King.
Breakfast.
Trish, listen to how Andy responds to Dave being CEO like he barely knows him, when between all the stories told in this podcast, he knows him better than. Oh yeah. They listen. We're all me and Dave and Andy. We're all thick as thieves. Don't
hear much about Andy anymore, huh?
Don't get it twisted.
He's not really in that group of his buddies. I wonder what happened there. Twisted. Why isn't he on Rogan anymore? Why doesn't Cam reach out to him? I wonder what happened with Andy. I heard
really?
There was issues. Wasn't there issues?
Was there issues?
I don't know. I just watched some of his podcasts and it just seems weird, man. Like there's something more there.
Tell me after the show. Call me. He just opened a coffee shop. I hope it's very successful.
No, that was just my ambiguous claim.
Oh shit, Omar. No, I'm actually not going there. Dang, Omar. Strutting your shit. We'll see you guys tomorrow, live call-in show. We'll hear Sousa's thoughts on people who leverage the community as opposed to contribute to the community. Jake Lockert, you're a gentleman and a scholar. Thanks for coming on. Bye-bye.